Okay, we're live. What's up, everyone?
Hey,
Hey,
Hey.
hey, it's almost 2016. Hey,
Oh yeah, you're a Australian Time Lord, aren't you? Like ahead?
yeah, that's right. I'm plus 10 hours, so basically I see 2016 probably like 10 hours before everyone else does.
What time is it over there? Where are you?
It
Melbourne?
is in Brisbane. It's 4 o'clock. Yeah, 4 p.m. That's it.
oh damn, okay.
And you know when it gets to 2016, Justin Trudeau's gonna have to get a new what is it? Response. Rather than saying it's 2015, everything he can be like, oh, it's 2016. Why are you implementing tax changes? It's 2016.
But
What's
it's the current year.
It's the current year.
It's been a while
Okay.
since we streamed, so I guess
It's been
I don't know
almost
if anyone if anyone that used to watch us is still around because I kind of like dropped off for a while, but
you fucking disappeared on us, dude. We can't stream without you, man. You're
yeah,
like an
I'm the only one that can do
irreplaceable
it.
part of us.
Yeah. We have no talent at all, trust me.
Okay, well, anyway, if anyone was watching before, welcome back. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of wrap up the year, and I know Oz has some stories that you want to share.
Alright.
Like,
I've got some weird shit.
what were your top events?
Top events. What can I remember? Who should I say a list? Okay, so top events. One would be Brianna Wu DCMAing myself and V. But everyone remembered V because, let's face it, he's more popular. Good old me, got nothing.
Yeah, I only knew
um,
that the gypsy got doxxed, not the Australian guy.
yeah, but it was really funny because every single time someone had, like, say there was a stream with Sargon, and Sargon mentioned me, every single time someone mentioned my name, it was like as if Arnold Schwarzenegger was trying to pronounce it. Every single time it was like, is that Australian guy called Alz, something
Oz, Oz,
AUS. Alz,
Aussie,
Alz.
Actually, what? Yeah, what is that?
It's just short for Australian. And I found it was like a really dodgy name to call myself, specifically on YouTube, because if you look at what Oz means in German, it means from. So if you're trying to search me on YouTube, half the results are German because I'm Oz from Oz essentially.
Well, it would be better than just having it as Oz because then no one would ever find you.
That's right. They'd end up getting like a TV series about a prison.
So,
Yeah,
so
Okay,
what?
so
Yeah, what was the video for?
the video, a lot of people probably know this one. It was the one where Brianna Wu is doing a talk. This is like way before Gamergate. It was an alt conference. The original video that I managed to get the stuff from was, well, it had about 100 views or so when I first saw it. And basically it was her before Gamergate explaining how she gets catcalled and death threats. Ironically, she was getting the same amount of death threats as she does apparently now. So Gamergate really had no change in that at all. And she was explaining how she was getting catcalled in San Francisco, which I'm like not surprised because San Francisco is a bunch of scum. What else was there in there? Oh yeah, she was explaining her hiring practices and the reason why she had hired all 5 women was because you hire your friends, and I quote here, she said, "You hire your friends. It's what I do." which it's sort of like that's a stark contrast to when she was complaining about that. I think a Norway or Swedish game company which had 6 white dudes, and she was complaining how they were all white and there was no women in it. But let's face it, if she was running the company, it would be all 6 white women because she would only hire her friends.
Well, I've also got another problem with that too. Only hiring your friends. We have a word for that. It's called nepotism.
Yes, that's right. It's also nepotism.
So, like, I'm trying to understand this here, and she's flat out championing something that is a very bad business practice and is known for causing harm to companies' bottom lines.
Which is demonstrated in her shitty game. Um, in the same talk, she's talking about how she goes to like these industry type parties, get-togethers, right? Where she basically says 90% of the people there are men, but somehow she still manages to hire all women, which means she's ignored 90% of the people in the industry, right? Just to favour women. It's like, yeah, it's great hypocrisy there.
Well, another thing that gets me about this too is less women want to go into, computers and computer sciences and everything. So, in the end, there are less women coming out of it. I don't see how this is surprising. It frustrates me to no end how people complain about a problem but offer no means to solve it.
Well, and from top to bottom, like all of her actions and her entire life is like ultimate hypocrisy. Like she complains about women in gaming, and then she makes a game where it has ridiculous character models. It's just like I don't even know what her justification is for that still. I know she's given them, but it's
Her
ridiculous.
justification was that she liked like TV shows like Sailor Moon.
Oh, it's a stylistic choice or
and
something.
stylistic choice, which
I
whenever some other company
Oh, it's a spoof.
mentions stylism, that's not even a word. That mentions that they did something for stylistic choices. It's never a worthy response to the social justice people.
Well, the thing that gets me about that though is I don't ever remember Sailor Moon looking that bad or that it was her. It's funny. Her character models and everything were needlessly sexualized.
Her character models were needlessly looking like her and her previous drawings, like that
Yeah,
bun
well,
hair.
yeah.
That's not Sailor Moon at all.
I don't want to think about it, please. I haven't thought about it in months. Oh no. Oh god damn.
I have a video link to one of her videos on one of her channels where it shows her inner thigh. I can show you that one. That'll kill you.
No,
You
no,
won't be able
I
to get that
don't.
out of your head.
No thanks.
No
But
thanks.
I'm always like mixed about talking about her because it's like on one hand, you want to call out the bullshit and you want to kind of refute the narrative, but on the other hand, it's like I don't want to give her attention.
Well,
So it's always like it's weird.
actually, to be entirely honest, turning around on this, you have to call this shit out. We tried not calling it out. We said, you know what, we're not going to say anything about it. It'll go away itself. And it took over the entire goddamn industry. No, we call out the bullshit when we see it. We tell them to shut the fuck up. And we give reasons why. If people go looking into it, they will see it for what it is. Or maybe they won't. They'll probably just confirm their biases. Either way, at that point, they're a lost cause. But we need to have at least some voice speaking up. The problem about the vocal.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The problem about the vocal minority and the silent majority is that the silent majority never wakes the fuck up when the vocal minority wants to do something fucking retarded. This happens with SJWs, this happened in Gamergate, this happened in everything I've ever seen. People need to stop fucking doing it.
Yeah, it's I think that's for me always been the key where people take it one step too far than basically what's needed. Like you just need to call it out and I guess monitor it, but then people kind of feed into it and kind of obsess over it, and then that actually ends up giving them more money.
Well, I'm going to be entirely honest. The people who are going to give her more money, so to speak, are people who are going to do it at one point eventually anyway. They're going to hear about it somehow because they're of that type. It's a problem that would self-regulate itself because they get more money. Well, that means that the limited number of people who would buy into this blow their money. So
Yeah, they've got excess money to waste on frivolous shit.
it helps. Actually helps regulate itself, honestly, because what they're doing is not sustainable at all. Once people get over and beyond, the bullshit here, I mean, what leg do they have to stand on?
Yo, there's just wanted to shout out to the one guy watching. He is
But we have somebody watching.
If you guys want to pull up the chat, there's like one guy. Hello.
How do we pull up the chat? Do I have to go on to
you
the
have to,
actual
like,
YouTube?
Yeah, just pull up the YouTube link and open up another window with it. He probably left by now. No, I'm just kidding.
The moment he got noticed.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's one guy, and he's like, nope, I'm out. Yeah. On that note, I think like I know some people have disagreed with me on this, but like, Not Sure Shield, I think, was also something that I look back on and I think kind of was a misfire. Like, I think like the idea of it is fine, but it became identity politics in and of itself. Like the whole point of it, I think it was best utilized just as a tactic, basically, to refute whatever SJW narrative was out there that, oh, everyone's a sock puppet, blah, blah, blah. So you can, basically show direct evidence to the contrary. But then people kind of, and myself included, kind of made that kind of an identity, and it just kind of fed into the identity politics even more, in my opinion. I feel a lot of people disagree with me on that, but I think like it ended up being worse than without it. But just the way people the way people utilized it, though, not the idea.
I do disagree on that, actually. It was definitely a needed tactic, and you have to remember in a war, nothing short of it that we're in right now, to concede a battlefield, to quit a battlefield, is to concede defeat. And honestly, this group, you can't give them an inch. You really can't. You have to do whatever you can just to refute their bullshit. Because
but
they make so much use of confirmation bias. Go ahead.
But would you buy a Gamergate is love shirt?
No. Makes no fucking sense.
But that was the response to, I think it was some game company had some Gamergate is hate campaign. I forgot what it was specifically. And then to counter that, I think Queenie, if you remember her, like made this line of shirts that said like Gamergate is love. And I was like, I can't ever see a situation where I would wear that shit. You can't be serious.
Well, you see, that is taking it the wrong direction. When you think about it this way, you think about the old anons with 4chan and whatever else have you, the exploding vans and whatnot. You have to remember, like, the big thing that they had going for them was they embraced those negative titles, the internet hate machine. But they would do so ironically and so outrageously that you couldn't take it seriously. because it
Yeah.
wasn't intended to be.
Well, so yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, so with Not Your Shield, again, like I said, I think the idea behind it is fine, but what there was still like an underlying uh, kind of sentiment of people genuinely wanting to prove that we're not all sock puppets. Like, it wasn't just like, to me, it would be just to kind of stop the narrative, stop the lying narrative, basically. But I like wouldn't care if they believed it or not. It was more for third parties, or just so that the lie isn't and misinformation isn't out there. People actually took it to heart though, and were like, I have to prove that, like, I'm not a white cis male. Like, it's like, no, I don't care. It's more of just to correct the lie, but I don't care if that person accepts it or not. But people like actually took that up as a cause. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, it's
Yeah.
just they took it too seriously.
Well, that's always been Gamergate's problem. That was Chanology's problem too back in the day. If you remember, if you go back to our older streams, you can see me saying Chanology's problem was when it started taking itself too seriously. And I've warned multiple times about Gamergate, like, dude, don't take it too seriously. This is why we tried to start up the board faggotry. This is why we tried to start up, dumb shit. Because the dumb shit is what keeps it alive. It's what keeps it going, and it's
Yeah.
really what separates us.
I think the type of subversive activities or ops that I enjoyed were things like when 4chan trolled feminists with the "piss yourself" campaign. I forgot what it was called, but they started that thing where you take a picture of you pissing your pants for feminism. I forgot what the premise was, as a joke, and then a bunch of feminists actually took it to heart and then just started pissing their pants and like spreading those pictures around. I forgot what the campaign was called, but see, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like is better.
And there was also the free bleed one too. Remember that one where they convinced them that the patriarchy was in control of, like, I don't know, tampons or some shit like that, and that they should just go without. Some semi-famous person actually did a marathon run while bleeding, and there's red spots everywhere. Welcome to the internet, people. 2016 is going to be great.
Look, okay, I don't care what you do with your own stuff. I really don't give a shit. But when you get to the point of being unsanitary, to the point where you're actually putting other people at risk, I mean, does nobody know bloodborne pathogens exist? Really, guys? Oh my fucking god! It's like when you start endangering other people is when I want to slap you upside the head and tell you to shut the fuck up.
Hang on, did you just say bloodborne? Are you are you gendering? I'm sorry, I just laughed at my joke. Like,
Okay,
way too
are
early.
you gonna like piss on me for being a Souls series fan now, or?
Oh dear. I can't remember what the other one was. There was another one. I can't remember it though.
Well, another
Oh,
one.
anyway. Another weird 4chan troll thing. I can't remember.
Oh yeah. There were a couple that were good this year. I know what I think I know what you're talking about. There was another one. Was it the menstruating one? There was one where
I
they
covered it off.
pissed. Oh, okay.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I know a couple. I don't know if this one was 2015 or not. There was a cut for Beaver. That was horrific.
People actually did it, right?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah. And there was the Colored Loot Crew. That was around the Baltimore one where some 4chan, or I think 4chan or 8chan, I don't know where it originated from, but they basically had taken found pictures of mostly black people who were just standing over the top of electronics or anything, of any value, right? And they were just turning them into memes, pretending that they had been to the Baltimore riots and just looted the shit.
Yeah.
And then I think some BuzzFeed journalist, I say journalist with bunny ears, interviewed one and totally believed their story.
Yeah, see that one was good too because it touched on the social issue and it also basically exposed the media and
For not fact
that
checking.
exactly. So like going into 2016, like that's kind of one of my personal goals is to kind of start more ops like that. Because I'm a firm believer in when people kind of allow things like BLM to get out of control or these like campus protests where essentially the administration is reduced to groveling on the floor, basically just giving in to whatever demands of the screaming students, whining about whatever the fuck. I think that they should be subjected to do it more. Like we should. I want to encourage like more chaos, where and they are like literally like looking themselves in the mirror, just like crying, like what have I become? Like
You
that's the
see,
only way. That's the only way they're gonna learn. Like if
you
you
see,
just let people run amok like that because you want to be PC, you should have to abide by the same rules. And that's
you
the only
see,
way other people are gonna learn too when they see this. Like I want to push it to the extreme to see like how far it can go before people just completely just break down.
you see that right there is actually kind of an old school anon attitude. That's actually really the attitude that real, true, and proper trolling takes. You gotta want to encourage the chaos and push it beyond its limits, and just to see how far this chain reaction of shitstorm will go.
Yeah,
Um,
and we could do it. That's the thing. Like, I mean, obviously, like the Chans could do it, but it was just more for just for fun. I think, like in this case, to make an example out of people trying to be too progressive, I think would be fun, entertaining, and would actually do some good because people would get actually red pilled by that once they see like how insane it's become.
well, yeah, I can definitely see that point. I just, it really becomes a question of just how far are we going to be pushing it, you know?
Like in like Sean Connery and The Untouchables. What are you prepared to do?
Like, actually, last Sigil just brought this up in the chat. He said, seems like Black Lives Matter has gone full circle and they're encouraging segregation. You know what? Yeah, I've actually got a huge critique I thought up recently of social justice in general that really becomes important when considering how to combat it and how to red pill people. But I'll get into that when it's relevant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's actually an interesting. See, BLM is actually an interesting phenomenon because that's one of the things that brought the whole SJW progressive PC thing into the mainstream this year. I think I know it's been around, but it's kind of like the perfect storm of things. And that was definitely one of the things that kind of brought it to everyone's attention. And South Park picked up on it too. That's probably one of the best indicators of how much it's affected society this year specifically.
Well, South Park, the creators of South Park specifically said they wanted to destroy SJWs. They saw them as the biggest enemy. So, I mean, it's not often that you actually earn their direct ire.
Yeah,
I can't even
and they
think of the
went
last
hard
time
too.
they did that. Oh, they
They dedicated like the entire season to it, an entire character and plot arc. It's just like that is pretty like unprecedented for South Park.
yeah, they usually make fun of everyone equally. They don't usually home in like that.
But it is definitely like the it's in direct contradiction to everything they stand for, the whole SJW mentality.
hmm I don't know. Like, over the past year, I've got to say the biggest realization I've come to is there's no such thing as a news organization anymore. There isn't. It's it's honestly just propaganda.
Yeah, and I think that's actually one of the things that brought people to Gamergate in the first place, and that's one of the that was one of the topics. Like people didn't realize before how biased things were and how much things are just straight up propaganda. Like Wikipedia, for example, a lot of people didn't realize that that's when it comes to like political topics, social topics, it's just whoever controls the editing can create their own narrative. But a lot of people didn't realize that until Gamergate. They just took it
Us,
at
you haven't. Oh, I'm
because
sorry.
Oh, actually, yeah,
it's too
I'll jump in
boring.
on this one.
I'm just kidding.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Remember how we had that editor called Roy Long, I think?
Ryu
Oh,
Long, more like Ryu Dong. Am I
Yeah,
right?
him. That's,
Hey,
Oi,
sick burn.
um. Anyway, so after he got booted out of Wikipedia for being a general douche, Rational Wiki, the next greatest douche wiki, they picked him up, right, and then guess what? They had issues with him banning other editors and undoing all the work they had done, and wherever this guy goes, shit happens.
I'm not entirely convinced that guy is like on the up and up. I think he might be like just trolling people. Because I don't know, it just the chaos seems too deliberate that guy brings.
He's definitely borderline. Like I've thought what you thought of. I've had the same
Mm.
thoughts. I mean, but I feel like he's serious, but yeah, there's some doubt for me. But like,
He's
see, that's what I'm talking about though. Like, if you were a troll and you wanted to show how ridiculous that position was, that would be the way to do it. Now, it's sad if he is actually serious, but if you really wanted to demonstrate the insanity, you would take Ryulong's approach and take it to the most extreme that you could, and just keep going with it. And just the best part about it is he would never get as far as he did without the like having a community to support him. Like, and that's what the most insane thing to me is. And for all of the people, all of the SJW figureheads, they have fans that give them money and rationalize everything they do, even in the face of facts. It's like, okay,
well, actually, you know what? I can actually turn this around, and forgive me for making this more American centric, but yeah, I live in
you
America. You could
Boris
actually
American.
Fuck yeah.
You could actually point to, and forgive me for bringing up current politics, but you could actually bring this up to what I'm going to call the Hillary Clinton syndrome, where, like, there are a lot of very decent points to be brought up against her. There's a lot of bad shit she's done. I mean, that email situation is honestly, legitimately, like, a no-no. Like, OPSEC, just no. And this is all lost because all of these people are out here screaming Benghazi this, Benghazi that, are beating a dead horse, are flat out lying about a situation to try to make it worse than it is when there's no need to do it, and in the end they make her end up looking better. And how this brings it in is, in effect, by us becoming so much against this group and fighting so hard, you can actually force people towards what you seem to be attacking. This is why I've always said you cannot be aggressive against subversion.
What the thing though is there is a level of cult-like mentality there as well though. Kind of like how we see within Gamergate. Like for example, Hillary supporters, and much like any supporters, even Gamergate people do this to be honest, but like they things that they would attack, another party for doing, they give a pass to her just because it's Hillary Clinton. Like every group of supporters does it. The thing is that in their case, since they're the progressive, inclusive, tolerant ones, it's so much more hypocritical because it's like they're the ones like preaching, how great they are and how they know what's best. Yet when their own does it, exactly what they're preaching against, it's like, oh, it doesn't count that time. Look over
Yeah.
here.
It's like as if they were looking each other's anuses and then just said, well, dogs did it. That's exactly what it is. It's like, yeah, dogs are sort of expected to do it.
Well, I don't know,
You're supposed to
like,
have a high moral horse, really.
it upsets me so much, especially the SJWs claiming to have the moral high ground and then resorting to the means that not even the most vile of people would stoop to, you know?
Yeah, and that's basically it's hilarious because they've come full circle. Like everybody doesn't like it when, far right religious people are authoritarian about things, and then, like, let's say they're super against gay marriage, and then it turns out, they're cruising the LAX bathroom stalls with a wide stance to tap people under the stalls for a little extra action there. Um, so I mean, like, it's hilarious because like they don't the progressive authoritarians now don't see how they're doing the same exact thing. It's just that it's okay when they do it though. That
Oh, that
that
reminds me.
that that level of hypocrisy that's what's like pissing me off.
I think it was Illinois or something like that, where there's a Democratic party member who was taking part in Black Lives Matter protests, and specifically where they were blocking access to a mall. And so the people who were in her town or city were writing to her, um, sort of, wondering why is she specifically blocking their access to their mall when they pay taxes and so forth like that. So what her response was to then release all their personal information onto Twitter.
Oh, you're talking about the Minnesota City Council person?
Yeah, all your states are the
Or,
same to me.
well,
There's
yeah, yeah,
so many states, I've got no idea. Yeah, they're Minnesota State Council, whatever they are.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah, perfect example right there. It's in her case, I think her excuse was it's showing racism because
What?
people were just like sending her messages like, "Hey, I don't think you should be involved in this in this protest because it's unbecoming of a councilwoman," and she's just like, "Well, that's racist," and then she just doxes them. It's like, oh, okay.
What the fuck? It's like these little itty bitty children get some modicum of authority and become despots and tyrants the moment they can. Holy fuck.
And I still think like see stuff like that, they're getting away with and they will continue to get away with. Like I think what's brought to the national stage right now, or the worldwide stage, I guess, is kind of like the bigger stuff, like, BLM and the ridiculous campus protests, people are finally speaking out against it. And I guess, to some degree, Trump, people are not afraid to be labeled as racists, they'll just take it, whereas before they would never speak up. But still, things like this, like that city councilwoman, those things fly under the radar. And I think like that's the thing in 2016 that I kind of hope we move towards pushing back against, like on all levels. I know it's going to take a while, but like that's kind of like how it's been, there's just little drips of it everywhere, and it's kind of hard to plug up all the holes. That's what she said.
Ahoy!
Hey-o. That's the kind of humor you can expect from this stream.
I suppose that's a good segue into the recent social justice warrior doxing group that's on YouTube. Okay, so originally what happened was that there's this YouTube character called Exiled. Now she's a former sex worker, right? But she's now like a rights worker for an activist for sex workers, right? And everyone's favorite social justice warrior, Jenny McDermott, did a video called "Exiled is a Whore," and it's pretty much horrific, right? And so when I first saw that, I thought that's sort of, it's sort of hypocritical. I called her a swerve because I know that pisses people off. And then she released my first name, and then later on in another video she released my second name. So obviously she had access to my to my real name somewhere, right? Which is a little bit suspicious. Later on, she then had a tweet out to JJ Talks, Agent is Out, various other people saying your day of reckoning is coming, right? The day of reckoning. Just remember that point. Later, a couple of hours later, another Twitter account popped up called Day of Reckoning, which then just started to dox people like JJ Talks, Boy Bumblebee, and so forth, right? So it's like, we know it was you, seriously. You can't hide this kind of shit. They've always got to brag of what they're doing. And then what was really weird is later I got an email from, actually I should just pull it up, shouldn't I? I got an email from some random email account, right? And I put underneath my fan mail.
Ooh. Oh no. Your day of reckoning. People will know your name on the internet.
So they sent me this email, right? And there's a link to a Tumblr page, because SJWs and Tumblr, who would have thought? It says the address is like Stalker Oz, and then it's got my real name, .tumblr, right? And if you go there, there's a picture of I totally forgot we had that account then killed. Anyway, you go there and there's a picture of myself and my ex, which is sort of creepy, really creepy. And then it says my name is, it's got my real name, and then it says I raped my ex-girlfriend and I can't help myself. Someone call the cops. And then I live in Australia. Oh shit, that's like really creepy. And this is like the social justice warriors' attempt at trying to get me to stop saying mean stuff. Because what's really funny is I didn't do anything right, and then the next email comes out, goes, hey, did you get the message from my friend about your little Tumblr page, right? If not, here it is again. All right. And then they go, we think you should stop talking badly about people online. Don't just pick one. Stop talking badly about everyone. They've got everyone in capitals because it's like they're serious. And then it's got awesome question mark. Thanks, bud. And then it's got extra credit. extra credit as if like, it's like, oh, there's extra homework for me. Clean up some comments and we'll talk about your lovely Tumblr post, taking your Tumblr post down and not sending it to anyone you might know after what would, then they've got the name of my ex-girlfriend, would think. So how I responded to this, right? Because I've got a fairly good idea who it is, right? So I went around to a couple of their videos and then just started saying mean stuff in their comments, like, basically like, your sound quality's off, the sound levels are too shit, your jokes are crap, the makeup you put on make you look like a child. You're rude.
So we just say more mean stuff.
Nothing harassment-like, right, but just telling the truth.
Guys, can you hear me?
We can.
Excellent. But how the hell do I turn my cam off?
We can't see any shit on it anyway, it's just like, pitch black.
Yeah, I know, it's dark as shit. Hang on, hold the phone.
Oh wait, I can see something.
Ah, that's the TV.
Are we going to unmask the Silver Ranger?
Hell no. Not yet, anyway.
I love how he's an average anime fangirl now.
Wait, what?
Your name came up as average anime fangirl.
Yeah, about that. This is my fiance's tablet I'm jacking for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's on the fritz and a total piece of crap.
Cool. But yeah, so are you serious? They were like, stop saying mean things, and then like sending you letters in the mail with like cut up like magazine letters and like glued to like a piece of paper or something. Like, is this the game we're playing now?
They sent me another one. The 100 or so people on your friends list look poor. You keep talking shit, so I think we'll give them a Christmas present for you. And then they've started using my middle name for some unknown reason. Like, it's like, oh no, they know my middle name. Oh no, I'm somehow embarrassed by my middle name. And then they'd go, your brother should be first, or your cousin, or whoever the guy is with your last name. And then they've got smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. And I didn't really do anything that apart from go out and say more mean shit. And then their last one says, chill out, Oz, have a good day, don't talk shit, go work on a hobby. Which is quite funny because my hobby is literally talking shit about people. This one I did actually respond to, right? So basically, I won't say what I said because it's I told them the spoilers for the new Star Wars movie.
I do hope help me. Help me do some quick audio checks because this is a tablet and I've never done this before on it. All right,
No, you sound pretty good.
You sound a little quiet to me.
how about now?
Still a little quiet.
No, I'm asking because it's an app, and I was worried it might cut out on me.
No, we can hear you. You're just quiet.
I have to be. I don't have that much of a choice. But as long
Not
as
a problem.
On another note, Disney gives in to Muslim demands, removes Piglet from Disney stores. Oh?
Hold on.
Where'd Dancefight go? Why is his mic out? Get back here, ya fadget.
I don't know what you're talking about. I can see Piglet perfectly fine in the Disney store. I could buy it right now.
Stand by. I have the link here.
Dude, like I'm literally I could buy it right now.
I'll send you the link in a minute. It's
I don't know what
It's
which
bullshit.
is that.
Yo,
It's bullshit.
So, Silver Ranger, what are you going by now? What should I call you now?
No, you can still call me the
No,
Silver.
he's an average anime fangirl. That is what he is for this stream.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be average anon or something.
No, it's average anime fangirl.
Now the
Well,
only
it's
reason
far
that
worse
is the only reason that is Dancefight is because this is my fiance's tablet. I have to borrow it.
Yeah, we're all among friends here. You don't have to lie.
Yeah.
No, totally present.
No, she's right.
I stand corrected. I like how you just presented her immediately to be like, nope, you're wrong.
No, she's right here. She's playing Splatoon.
All right, I believe you, guy. Okay, why you gotta rub it in?
Because Splatoon is awesome.
I haven't played that yet.
I don't know. Smells like
sorry.
a casual to me.
What were you guys talking about? Jenny McCartney?
Hang on. Where's the chat to this thing? I'm trying to post a link.
Group chat or YouTube chat?
No. Frickin' Google Hangouts chat.
Top left blue button.
Was this it? Hang on.
I literally just debunked it.
Ah, screw this. This is why I hate apps.
All right. Well, what did I miss? Or where'd you guys move off?
Actually, I should continue on this crazy world, right? So basically, I should tell you about a character called Caitlin Barfield, who doesn't actually exist, who's actually a troll. Who's basically what this person did, right, was they created a YouTube account, they created a Twitter account, and they started going to these YouTube channels of Jenny McDermott, Kevin Logan, and so forth like that, and defending them, right? Basically, like pumping them up and saying, "Oh no, you guys are the harassers" and shit like that. So what eventually had happened, right, was they invited this fake character they didn't know it was fake at the time into this private group where they ended up discussing false flagging people. They decided to, they wanted to flag every single one of Thunderfoot's videos on feminism, because apparently saying feminism is poison is analogous to 1930s Nazis propaganda.
Oh wait, here I found it.
Yeah. If you look in the link that I've sent, page 15, basically shows all the screen caps of them trying to go after people. There's one especially good one where, let's see, there's just so much hilarious shit.
So like their ops are basically like go around to videos I don't like, false flag them so that no one can watch them, pretty much.
Yeah. Here we go. This one's a good one. Okay, I'm in. I've already reported Justin Templar to Facebook and Twitter. And then Pony Boy, who's actually a PUA, which is odd, says, "I'm for taking down Oz too, if everyone's in." And then Laughing Witch, our favourite, says, "Yeah, he's a dick." So they want to take me down because I irritate them.
Well, that's seems justified in my view. You're a dick.
Sounds made up.
So
Yeah, for sure.
as we all know, if you're a dick, that means you don't get to speak.
That's right.
In a public forum where like no one's forced to watch it.
Look,
That's
all right,
like,
I have
it's
pissed
like-
off so many people over the past few months, and I don't even give a shit. Listen, you put your shit out in a public venue, expect to get slapped.
Yep.
Expect to get slapped, because somebody's going to say something otherwise. If you can't handle somebody questioning you, don't fucking put it in a public forum. Don't. Just don't.
I know.
I think
These people sound about as bad as my mother.
I know, they
Let's
could
not
be
bring family
worse.
drama into this.
But like
I'm
it's
serious.
funny how the tactics that I would advocate is to push them to basically shine some sunlight into their activities. So by pushing it even more, hopefully more people will see what's going on. Whereas theirs is the complete opposite. It's just like find dissent and take away, and then the best part is their justification is always like the hate speech thing. Like that's their catch-all. It doesn't count because what you're saying is hateful.
Look who's also defending that narrative, particularly the Obama News Network, CNN.
ONN?
Yep.
These
You did
networks.
not
Wait,
you
wait,
didn't
no,
think
no.
that one through.
You completely I get it.
But I see what you're saying, but just busting your balls.
Cool.
But
Excellent.
no, yeah. No, yeah. I don't know.
Another note, I did some shit posting on 8chan, particularly on GG Revolt, GGHQ, and Poll, and the reactions were slightly different. I got a bigger response on Poll than I did either HQ or Revolt.
Well, Poll has more users nowadays. It's more active, so not surprising.
Here's the thread. Why is Anita Sarkeesian silent about the rape and murder of women?
Not her concern.
That's the thread. Here's how it writes out. In this link is a shocking video reportedly smuggled from an ISIS stronghold that shows jihadists dragging away young girls from their parents. I ask all of you on Poll, GG Revolt, and GGHQ a pertinent question. If Anita Sarkeesian represents women's rights, then why is she silent while girls are being raped in the Middle East by Muslims? Yazidi women, Christian women ripped out of their Muslims' arms. Look at the videotape. I have it up from the Daily Mail, which was originally posted on michaelsavage.com. It's one of the most heart-rending tapes I have ever seen in my life. Yazidi girls screaming as they're being torn away from their mothers and fathers in a schoolyard by these Untermenschen, these subhumans. These subhumans make Hitler's minions look like Boy Scouts, and we're doing nothing about it. Virtually nothing. Zoe Quinn and Chanty Binks are saying nothing about these rapes. Sarkeesian the liar, who represents women like my dog represents women. How could she say she represents women when she's saying nothing about the ongoing rapes and kidnappings, Lindsay Ellis? Lindsay, hey big mouth, hey nostalgia chick who loves all things liberal.
You see, my problem with you right there, and my problem with the way you did that, is you put way too much of an appeal to emotion there. Flat out.
Well, one thing though is they're just gonna say that their scope and their fight is with women in women in gaming. So, I mean, it's a fair point, obviously, but I mean, it's kind of you could do that with anything, right? You could just say, "Well, look at this other thing over here. Why aren't you fighting that?"
Yeah, I know. I know.
Just, I wanted to get a particular kind of reaction because I did it as Huac Fag. And again, the results were surprising, but then I get this response on GG Revolt. This is a shill thread being copy-pasted on Poll 2. Green text, Hitler minions, taking Sarkintosh seriously. Sage GIDF threads. I responded to this.
Wait, what's a
Fuck
GIDF?
Jewish Israeli Defense Force.
Oh, JIDF.
I responded to that post. Huac Fag here. Piss off, you blind moron. I already made it clear that I posted the same thread in all 3 boards, Poll included. Pick related, you moron. What is pick related? Read, nigga! Read!
Reading comprehension surprises me. Or
They always
disappoints me.
They always call
Is there a
everything,
term?
Shill. So
Is there a specific term for surprised disappointment?
From who?
Just is there a term for that?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, higher level, you have to remember that you know, Femme Frequency and Anita specifically, she's basically just taking orders. Like, she doesn't write anything that she talks about. She basically just is there to push a narrative, and she's just like the public face of it. So
I
it's
know.
not it's not like it's very deliberate, basically, what their scope is, and that's why basically she's being phased out now, because
Yeah,
it's no longer
the fact
effective.
but the fact that Femme Freak seems to be, in my opinion, condoning Islamic terrorism.
Have they condoned it?
Case in point, Macintosh, his blind support for Palestine.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but that's a progressive stance, though, right? That's a
I feel like we've gotten completely off topic.
By the way, guys, could you post the YouTube link, please?
bottom right. Click on links, and the YouTube page link pops up.
Got it.
So, yeah, I mean, regardless of that, the gripes that they come up with are purely invented in the first place. So, like, you don't even need to go to why aren't they looking at real acts of misogyny. Most of the ones that they're citing aren't even actual things. Like,
Well, you know what? This is relevant, so I'll bring this up. My main issue with social justice warriors in general at this point is that they treat a personal social issue as something that needs to be legislated. And they go about it in a way that bears no hope of actually creating any form of understanding.
yeah,
You're trying to
Rather-
say that they're telling other people how to live, basically.
yeah,
Well,
and
no,
if they
no. That's not at all what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say here is that they are trying to force acceptance, which is an oxymoron.
Ah.
Yeah, so they're not. I mean, if they had an opinion on things and how things should change, they should be advocating for that point and hoping that people would come around to their point of view. And if they don't, then they have to fuck off and just keep trying, I guess. But they don't do that.
What really pisses me off about this, and actually I think Teddy Roosevelt specifically said something about this, but the idea is that you can't be an American and claim you're something else too. You know what, that comes to mind with this problem we're having now, where these people separate themselves, make themselves different from others, but then seek acceptance. But if you're separating yourself and segregating yourself from others and fencing yourself off as this person is special, how do you become accepted into the main group if you will not participate in the main society?
I don't know.
What's the end game?
I have a quick question for us. Like, how is the political and social climate in Australia? I'm just curious because, I mean, I don't hear a lot about what's going on over there, because you know how over here we have BLM protests and campus protests, and there's just like a lot of stuff going on at once. Trump, kind of leading the anti-PC and politics kind of charge, and people are just getting all nuts and divided. I don't know what your take on this as somebody looking out from outside is.
Well, Australia is just clearly better. in all fronts.
Okay,
Uh,
kick this guy off this.
uh, we actually do have it better here because one, our cops aren't douches, so there isn't any kind of issue for like a BLM alternative to spring up forward, right? The only things that are a concern over here are, I think it's like there's a take Australia back, which is generally an anti-immigration movement, and anti-halal movement as well.
Absolutely halal.
That's right. Apart from that, you don't really hear many social justice warrior type things pop up in Australia. I'm not quite sure why, but maybe it's because we've got that whole water barrier.
But
We're sort of
so
isolated from the world.
but is the society, I guess in general, just going along with being more progressive, or is it like taking a stand by being more conservative, or are they just good at like insulating the different groups that come up?
I guess because we've sort of had a culture of rebelling against the British for so long, that when it comes to like our government and all that, here's a good example. In America, people call Obama Mr. President, and they'll use his honor and all that, and a lot of people they won't openly say shitty things to members of parliament or whatever, senators and so forth like that. However, in Australia, most politicians are seen as bastards. You don't vote for the bastard you want, you vote against the bastard you don't want in, essentially. That's why we end up getting like a good mix of liberal and conservative members. In fact, we actually have quite a few independents now, which actually sort of threaten the whole two-party system we have here, mainly because we don't trust any politician.
I don't know.
In America, you have you'll have people who will go to Trump rallies, who will go to Bernie rallies, and they'll go to Hillary rallies. In Australia, that doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. The only time when you'll see a crowd around a politician is in an acceptance speech at a like a headquarters. That's about it.
I would say the Bernie and Trump thing is a little bit new though. Because the support they're getting is a lot stronger than we've seen recently for any political candidate. Like people seem more fired up this time around.
That's because people get sick of your system over there. So.
Well, from what I can understand, Bernie, at least in my view of things, Bernie brings a brand of almost authenticity that you don't see in politics very often nowadays. And Trump isn't politically correct at all, which is perfect because of how much the PC police have been running things. So that's really why those two have become as powerful as they are.
Yeah, I think regardless of how you feel about Trump, I think like he's served his purpose, win or lose. I think, I don't know, it's just like much needed, kind of refreshing, whether you agree with the guy or not. Like, for one, it's very entertaining. The memes from that guy are dank as fuck.
Why aren't there for Sanders though?
What's that?
Oh, there's
well,
plenty of
because
memes for Sanders. They just make fun of him.
Sanders is.
Sanders wants 2 pairs of underwear, and for these kids to turn off that horrible bebop. Ugh.
By the way, so in chat, someone was mentioning the the Caitlyn Jenner bill in Houston.
Oh, get the
So
fuck out
they
of here
tried
with that
passing a bill.
bullshit.
They tried passing a bill early October, which allowed people who identified as women. I guess it allows them to go into women's bathrooms as long as you identified as a woman.
No, fuck that.
And this is interesting because the guy that brought it up in chat said it didn't pass, thank goodness, and Duke here said it should have passed so the perverts can abuse it. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes I know it's like a repulsive thought, and your initial thought is no, that's insane. It shouldn't pass. I'm kind of with Duke on this one. Like I think it needs to be pushed to the extreme for people to understand.
Well,
I don't think they're gonna understand it at all anyway.
There's two ways of parenting. There are two ways of parenting here, and I feel like that they're applicable in this situation. There's the parent that protects the kid from everything, right? Then there's the parent that sees the kid about to put his finger in the electric socket and tells the kid to go ahead and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's a little dangerous, but the kid's gonna get the message real fucking quick.
I really don't think it's either approach is going to work anyway, particularly because society is just way too stupid to understand the message. We have lowered the standards drastically.
I disagree with you.
So you
I
think?
have far more faith in society than you do.
Well, okay. So let's explore that for a second. So let's say it passes, right? And then you get a bunch of these weird perverts just basically walking into the women's restroom, and it's just over abused that law. So
But
you don't
still
think
try to
that?
find a way to blame somebody else for it anyway. Look at what happened at Haiti. Remember that?
Yeah, but you don't think there's gonna be a point where it becomes too much? You think they're just gonna keep letting, like, people are gonna get raped probably? People are gonna get
I really
molested.
don't. I really don't,
Really?
because again, people are just way too stupid to read the
No,
writing.
you know what, Frank? Prove your assertion here, then. What do you have to say about this that makes you say this? Where is this coming from?
Again, Exhibit A, Haiti.
What about Haiti? So you're saying they have the same exact culture that we do?
No. I'm saying there was an incident in which a woman, I think some kind of not social worker, some kind of I forget what they call it. I'm being a faggot at this point.
Okay,
Somebody
just
from
keep going.
somebody from Doctors Without Borders or some charitable organization like that who volunteered to go down there, and she was brutally gang raped by several black males. They had the audacity to still blame white people for that incident.
Well, well,
Wait.
Okay, well, aside
No.
from that-
Listen, the average person doesn't do that. Like, I honestly, I think you've been so poisoned and jaded by these assholes that you don't even know what normal people are like anymore.
Maybe that's true too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
honestly, there will be a limit, though, dude. Like, I don't think people are just gonna tolerate that for very long once it's pushed to its eventual conclusion. Like, it will come to a head.
Okay.
If you look at the people who essentially have been red pilled, those people who were red pilled were average people. So you've already got cases where people who see this crazy shit, they see it and then they become red pilled, as the saying goes. Now I actually wanted that to pass. One, because I don't live there. It's much better if someone else tests that shit than
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy.
but in all reality, sometimes these weird things, right, they have to be tested out somewhere. It's sort of like the discussion about legalizing.
Well, test it in
Marijuana.
your neighborhood, asshole.
No.
Just
Australia's
kidding.
fine as it is. Do it there, just over there. Don't care if it fucks up. But these weird things, like say with legalizing marijuana, it's a bad idea if you legalize it everywhere all at the same time, right? You want a couple states to do it first up, and then once those states start getting results back, then you can go, yeah, maybe it's a good idea, or maybe we shouldn't do it. you sort of need some of these weird laws to pass somewhere, just so you can get a water level mark of, is this batshit crazy? Does it actually work? So in that sense, yeah, it's good if these things do pass sometimes, occasionally.
That's a good point.
We should hold on. We should use San Francisco as the test bed for all social experiments now.
San Francisco? Alright, I can roll with that.
Ooh, sick burn on San Francisco.
Also,
I see what you
there.
I see what
we
you did
also
there.
would have accepted. We also would have accepted San Francisco.
Oh, guys, because Cisco sounds kind of like sicko. Sick burn.
Sicko.
Wait, what?
Dank meme.
That was dank.
Stop that.
Dank Frank.
Stop with the dank memes. Rules 1 and 2, faggots.
Rules 1 and 2 specifically reference talking about B. 4chan B in public, and I just broke both of them. What are you going to do about it?
No, it no longer applies to 4chan anymore.
Doesn't matter. It specifically refers to B.
Indeed, but it should be expanded to 8chan.
But it's
Dude,
not.
yeah,
It's the internet rules. I'm staring into my camera now. You're wrong here.
Why? Why? Is that guy dead or just sleeping?
Look, sleeping people.
Did anyone else hear that California is like 1 year away from having no water?
Oh, to hell with California Stan. I'm sick of it. This is why I left Sacramento last time.
Who would have thought a state right next to the ocean was running out of water?
Yeah, I know they. One of the things they did was dump these like plastic black balls into the reservoir to like reflect the sun, so it doesn't like less water evaporates. And I'm like, yeah, but now I'm gonna get poisoned by the fucking plastic. Like, you didn't they didn't even tell us about this. They're just like, yeah, we're just dumping all this shit into the water. And it's like,
Never mind the plastic, dude. Never mind the plastic. How about the radiation from Fukushima?
Dude,
we're
the
all-
radiation from Fukushima is not affecting us at all. And if you actually subscribe to that Fukushima map, then you're stupider than I thought you were.
Tell me more.
No, there was a fake map about the Fukushima radiation coming across the Pacific Ocean. It was bullshit and it was debunked years ago.
Son of a bitch.
Who debunked it though?
So that,
This is twice. You need a fact check, dude.
Look, people in California are
Nah,
already retarded.
I'm
Radiation
not
is
that
not
good
a
at
thing.
digging, bro. This is what I have you guys for. And
Just
Seattle for
use
sure.
fucking Snopes, dude.
Hey, Snopes is bullshit though sometimes.
It is bullshit sometimes.
It has a agenda.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
No, no,
Hang on. Did you just say
Guys,
it
you
had
there?
agenda?
Guys, you there? I lost you.
Misgendering shit.
Here. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Sound check, 1, 2.
We can hear you.
Now, because you guys were cutting out bad.
I'm sorry, we really.
Sounds like a you problem.
Now, no, the problem is our internet connection.
Yeah, that's you.
That's a you
Oh.
problem.
Oh, you problem. Yeah, thanks a lot, Shaggy.
Sick burn on.
Like zoinks, dude.
Wrong, Shaggy.
Six Scooby-Doo reference. So yeah, I live in California. I block out all mentions of drought and stuff because there's so many ways that we're gonna die within the
What?
next year, whether it be an earthquake, a tidal wave, or a drought,
Please take California Stan.
SJW cancer. Take your pick. So I don't even pay attention anymore.
No, I'm just hoping
But yeah,
for a
we are-
natural disaster.
I mean, and plus, like, you know, it would be probably a good city to hit if we were ever going to be attacked again, or when we are, right? they already did New York, so I've already resigned to the end.
The end times cometh. Pray to Sigmar, he will guide you.
It's okay. I
Oh.
mean, I've had some dank memes in my life, so
Hey, no, listen.
you really ask for.
The best dank meme is the traitor TR8R Stormtrooper.
Wait, traitor?
That is the dank meme TR8R.
Nah, the only
I love
the only
that.
traitor line I know is from a particular old, very old first-person shooter. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, the best thing about the new Star Wars movie is not the movie itself, but the fact that after it, one set of clickbait websites were all about how the movie was making this female character Rey as being this giant champion for feminism, and then the other set was like, well, Finn is this Black Lives Matter movement's champion, and then the rest of the internet is like, hey, have you seen this random stormtrooper dude who takes on the traitor?
Oh no, no, seriously, they were right. That's his name, Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the best thing is, like, this, I go on the Twitter and all I see is hundreds of memes of, I think it's TR8B or something, just spitting his he's batting around.
My God, I'm cooking up some retarded memes in my head. The guy's name is Finn. Why have there been no Adventure Time gags from this? Just a shitpost.
Because people have a sense of humor.
You're implying I don't?
Yes.
Silence! I kill you! Oh. I really don't want to see this new Star Wars movie. I do not have high hopes about it.
I loved it, honestly. Flat
I
out,
wanna
I
s-
loved it.
I want to see Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight looks kind of decent. I've never been
And-
really too big on Tarantino movies, though.
And The Revenant. In chat, somebody said that was his favorite movie. So I do actually. I like outdoors movies. So
Do
I
your
like
thing.
any movie outdoors, not the wilderness. Just any movie set outdoors. I enjoy. No, I'm kidding.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what. It's weird with Star Wars because it's like, I mean, if it's good, it's good. So I'll still watch it. I just feel like it's just like this Disney-fied, dumbed down, huge advert, like basically, like long ad to sell toys.
No,
But
so
I'll
you-
keep an open. I'll keep
This
an open
is
mind.
obvious.
So you haven't seen it yet?
Nope.
No, I'm gonna watch it probably with some family, but I'm not
definitely-
super
definitely go see
into
it.
it.
I can say it's better than the prequels. Far better than the prequels.
What prequels?
Exactly.
I see the evil of the time.
There were only 3 movies before this, so
No, wait. Vigo the Carpathian mentioned this. I see the evil of the times to come. 3 more faraway wars will come, and they will tarnish even the undisputed glory of the first 3.
look, this is what I will say about the new Star Wars movie without dropping any major spoilers. All right?
Han Solo dies. Oh, sorry. What?
Way to go, dumbass.
I haven't seen it yet, and even I know that.
Okay, well, regardless, all I'm going to say, I've seen it a few times, actually. I won't say it's as good as the original movie, because the original movie was a lot simpler, and through its simplicity was its strength. But I can say that it is probably one of the better movies to come out. At least Star Wars wise. Honestly, I liked it more than Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
With Chewie the Wookiee and Finn the Nigger, the fun will never end.
Okay.
Can I just like slap this guy, please?
Well, it's good that Juju Abrams didn't ruin it. I was kind of concerned about that. And plus, it's just weird having him do Star Trek and Star Wars, but
No,
but
J.J.
hey, I'll
Abrams
give it a shot.
should have never touched Star Trek. I hate J.J. Abrams for destroying Star Trek.
I love it. I've never liked Star Trek.
Oh,
No, they destroyed.
you love that he destroyed it?
Yeah.
No, I should be great.
So
I should be
you're
grateful.
you're anti Star Trek.
Yeah, at
I
this
should
point,
be
yeah.
grateful. Prime timeline is as is. Everything in Star Trek Online is canon.
Oh yeah. Because Star Wars is the opposite, right? Only the movies are canon.
Wait, what are you talking about?
All right,
I-
listen.
For Star Wars, LucasArts said that only the movies are canon now.
Oh yeah, the expanded universe has been thrown into the shitter. Now,
Right.
I mean, shoot, HK-47 must be pissed. Meatbag.
Hey, all I have to say is, in some of the new books they've released, they have actually referenced KOTOR a few times. So I think they may have stealth canonized KOTOR.
Oh, you think there's some like rogue writers in there? They're like, I'll teach you to.
Well,
not
they
make it
came out
canon.
they came out with new books for the new EU to basically fix all of the bad shit that was in the old EU. And in it, they referenced, was it Malcor or Malchior 3, the destruction of it, gentleman known as the Scourge of it, aka Revan. And actually, in the novelization of the movie, they actually referenced the saber crystal that Kylo Ren is using as one that belonged to Revan.
Wait, what? You're joking.
Nope.
Son of a...
Yeah, totally.
Still, there's no HK-47. What the hell?
Well, if they canonized Revan, by extension, they canonized 47.
They better, or I'll be speaking out against this heresy.
Hey, so what do you think? To switch gears for a second, what are there any other stories from 2015 that come to mind, or any missed opportunities you can think of?
Gamergate completely missed every opportunity it ever had the chance of
Gamergate
doing.
itself.
Gamergate itself.
is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, on a higher level, I still like it. To me, it always has been just like a method of communication. I know like a little culture type of thing built up around it. Like obviously we have our own memes, we have our own inside jokes and everything. So obviously there's some degree of culture that built up around it. I'm in the camp where I don't think it's useful to make it more than it is. So, I mean, what we have now is a good kind of base communication infrastructure set up, right? So sometimes when something comes up and we need to reach a lot of people, maybe it's not as strong as it was before, but there is a way to do it. Whereas before there really wasn't a way to kind of like reach a bunch of like-minded people at once. So like in that respect, I think it's still useful, but it just kind of like pops up when something needs to be done. Like people are just kind of like keeping it going with like weird internal drama and just like weird dumb shit that like I don't even. That's why like I don't really follow it anymore because. Like I will follow it when something important comes up, and like it's good because we already have a way of like getting the word out and mobilizing people when things actually come up. But in between, it's like we don't need to. There's no need to just keep talking about bullshit just to keep it going. It's just a hashtag, It doesn't really matter.
Actually, this guy brings this up. Whatever happened with that AirPlay thing?
Oh.
What airplay?
Oh, okay.
Airplay 2.
I'll give you my take on this real quick. Airplay 1, at that time when it actually, right when it went down, I was out of Gamergate because I was kind of busy with work. So I hadn't followed Gamergate at all. I was I work kind of in gaming and entertainment a little bit. So from a mainstream perspective, um, I didn't hear anything about it, to be honest. Like, that's why from my perspective looking in, like as an outsider would, which was I think the point of it, to kind of reach and red pill more people and make it like a legit topic. Like, I don't mean to be negative or a downer, but like it was worthless because like outside of people that were already interested in it or would have been exposed to that kind of coverage, like we didn't hear anything about that. Like, not one thing. I didn't even know it existed or happened until after. And like, but I understand people. If it served their purposes, it made them feel good. Like, fine. But I don't know. It didn't really do anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely hear about that. By the way, I'm just going to warn you guys, I am playing MechWarrior Online in the background right now, so my attention will be a little diverted.
It's cool.
However, I usually die really quick, so it won't be much of a difference.
Oh,
But-
Duke, you just
Well,
reminded me.
like, do you? I mean, I see the point of it, but like, I'm just saying, like, the intended effect. I think it didn't reach out beyond people that already were in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Pardon the interruption.
Yeah?
Pardon the interruption. Just Duke, you just reminded me. Mech Warrior Online. Once our computer is off the ice, once I get everything set up, you got to help me out with Mech Warrior Online because I have a score to settle on Mech Warrior Online with the Angry Army, which
Oh, boy.
which are basically Angry Joe's minions. I have a sheer hatred and loathing, especially for Angry Joe himself, the sellout. Him and his other little butt buddy, Masako X.
Okay.
okay,
I
so
never. Don't you remember when I told you about that about a year and a half
Hey,
ago?
dude.
so with AirPlay, I don't know what you think about this, Oz. I know we talked about it before they did the first one, and I was like, I was on board. Like, I didn't really care too much either way. I'm just kind of commenting on the aftermath of it. I don't know what your take on that is.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But did it last long?
Well, there was a bomb threat, so and everyone had to be evacuated outside.
And I know people that were in it, so I don't mean to shit on like their contribution. I just I'm just being real.
I think a lot of the times people will look at Gamergate and go, how many people are interacting with it, right, are being reached, right? So when something happens in Gamergate, people are sort of wondering, why isn't there a reaction from, 90% of the game industry, right? So in that sense, I don't think Gamergate's use is actually being recognised in public, right? But we're sort of influencing the opinions of people who don't say anything about Gamergate. So right now you have Gamergate and you have anti-GG and they just fight back and forward, right? But the people who are in the industry who actually make decisions, who actually affect the course of the industry, right? I think they see stuff like this. They don't say anything about it, right? But their actions, how they act afterwards, are based off it. So,
Us, I have a theory about that. In fact, what is the people who are in charge in the industry, right? You were saying?
yeah.
I think I was saying I have a theory as to why this is going on now inside the industry. I mean, think back to the video game crash of '82 and '83. You remember all the glorious memories of I'm pulling a Frank Zappa here. You remember all the glorious memories of things like Pac-Man and Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog and a lot of those great memories which weren't all that good to begin with. Who do you think allowed those video games to be published? Not hip young guys. These were cigar-chomping old guys who looked at the product and said, I don't know. Who knows what it is? Put it out there. If it sells, fantastic. We were better off with the cigar-chomping old guys than we are with the hip young guys like Allison Rapp over at Nintendo making some of the big decisions. People like Allison Rapp and employees at the Nintendo Treehouse and people like Christian Svensson, formerly of Capcom, are more dangerous to the art form of video games than the old guys with the cigars ever were. So how do they get involved in things like Gamergate while inside the industry? Well, the old cigar guy says, well, I took a chance. We sold a few million units, but we got to do more of it. Let's get a chic nerd in here, a faux geek. So they're not going to trust this faux geek with any other duty other than to bring the mail in and out and go pick up the coffee. So after a while, he says, well, he delivered the coffee 4 times on time without any question. Let's give him a real job. So they make him a research and development guy, or they make him a marketing guy. And the next thing you know, they're moving up and up and up. Then they have their feet on the executive chair at places like Nintendo, and then they say, well, we can't take a chance on this, because this is definitely not what the young people want to see, and I should know. And, you know, they have that attitude. So if we go back to the days of, who knows, take a chance, the video game industry can return to thriving stronger than ever.
But I think, I mean, because even if it was somebody that, I think, because what your point is basically that the people that are making the decisions aren't like, they're kind of detached from the art form, I guess, or the kind of passion of developing, you know, they're just kind of more, they're just basically people in suits, you know. Still though, like even the people that are passionate about it, I think my problem with the whole way that AirPlay was designed is more of the reach and coverage. Because like I think like what Oz was saying, you know, is true, that if the people that make decisions, they kind of pay attention to what the core audience is saying, you know, it might sway their decision making. But it's not. I'm saying it's not really reaching them unless they were looking for it. I don't think AirPlay broke containment successfully, is what I'm saying.
Well, I did actually see there was a discussion going on a development forum, which they did actually bring up the AirPlay bombing. It was in discussion about Brianna, we had some kind of crazy idea about making games more diverse and how they would create more money. So there's a conversation going on elsewhere. I'd also point out, if you look at games like
What we're talking about.
Assassin's Creed, you know, EA and Battlefield, right? The social justice aspect, right? They're not actually creeping in. We're currently seeing more of what they always do. They make games easy to get into. They remove features, such as with the Battlefront thing, how they took planes out of it. There's an increase of DLCs. So essentially, the directions that the games industry is going in is in the direction of where they can get money, not exactly social justice.
Well, they've been using social justice as more of a way to kind of mask and distract from the issue of them trying to give the customer less product for more money.
Yeah, well, the
I think
Assassin's Creed one is a good example of that, where they did have they did have a transgender character in there, right? But the reality is that they didn't put that in there, right, because they wanted to be LGBT friendly. They just wanted to get a headline out of Kotaku and places like that. They just wanted to drum up sales.
Yeah, and really they're just trying to avoid what most people want to avoid, which is being yelled at. So
Yes.
if what's up? How do you
On a
pronounce?
related note, what about the Dead or Alive incident?
Oh yeah, that was a big one. There's a lot of yeah, I don't know. I never really followed up with the aftermath of that. But we got a new guy in chat, or on stream from chat. What's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
How's
What do you want
everyone
us to
doing?
call you? What do you want us to call you?
You can call me Andy. That'll work.
Andy?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
Oh, he just doxed himself.
Oh
I don't-
no!
I know you're
Some
powerful.
angry
no.
purple-haired SJWs are gonna come to my apartment.
They're already in your bed.
Oh joy!
I don't know. They can be pretty goddamn freaky.
I bet. Just look at Mattress Girl.
Yeah.
Mattress Girl.
So was she like thoroughly proved to be a fraud?
Yeah.
Yes, and people still believe her bullshit.
There you go. That's
Actually,
the
there's a story about her. A recent one just came out. There's a newspaper who interviewed the other guy, the accused, right?
Oh, that's
And
right.
And then she said to them that if they said anything that was untrue, unfactual, whatever, that she would sue them. This after all her unfounded accusations, the giant smear campaign that she had with the whole mattress walking around art demonstration thing. She thinks that if they just put out a story where they've just asked this guy questions, she's gonna sue them.
Really?
Yep.
Didn't she also make like a fake porn video? I say fake. She actually did. make
Yeah,
it.
it was actually a porn video, but she called it an art video or some
Art
shit.
piece.
Hey, listen, if pornography is art, I am clearly a connoisseur. I like this guy. We think the same way.
There we go. Speaking of GG Revolt, did y'all hear how they all turned on Oliver Campbell?
All the what?
Oliver Campbell. You guys know who he is, right?
Refresh my memory.
All right. 2 words. House nigger. He's essentially the guy. He's essentially the guy who pretty much promoted boycotting sites until finally people caught on to his bullshit.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, I missed that. You said he was against boycotting?
He was for it.
Oh, for boycotting. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He was for it, but he would always disguise it saying, "Oh, I don't think it's boycotting. I think it's buyer beware." Trying to pass it off.
Caveat emptor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's basically on GGR any e-celeb they just pretty much shit on. So
We're celeb now?
Then
No.
again, nowadays, who isn't an e-celeb?
I'm an e-celeb.
That reminds me, whatever happened to John Kelly?
who cares?
I have John Kelly muted because if I haven't got him muted right, I always get like tons of his shit with him arguing with random people in my Twitter list, and I'm like, this guy doesn't stop. Just go to sleep, John. Just go to sleep.
He's
Take
the
a break.
He's the Ken star of GG.
From what I've seen, he's pretty much really straight edge. He I mean, which is fine. I have no problem. But all he lives for is engaging with people online.
Yeah, it just doesn't end up.
Which whatever,
Yeah,
man.
nice.
Everyone needs a hobby, I guess.
That's another example of like I like the sentiment, and I think a lot of things he does needs to be done, but then it just gets taken way too far, where it's like to the point where like I don't care anymore. I'm like, why are you still talking about this? Like, Okay, you made your point. Let's move on now.
All right, I
Nope.
gotta get going in about 10 minutes.
All right.
Happy
Is there any
New
other
Year.
topic? Any other topic you want to talk about before you go? Like any other stories from the past year?
Let me kill Mr.
Oh, I got a great story. A great story.
Alice, did you ever finish your story about the people who are trying to dox you?
Yeah, that just like that all of a sudden just stopped. The accounts just stopped. The email stopped.
When they realized you weren't going to be afraid?
Yeah. I mean, then I released a whole video where I basically just showed the whole email on my video, and I think on the one of the let me find it. They did say they wanted a truce. I think yeah. On the first email after they had the whole link, they said, "Every time you talk shit about someone, the world will find out more about you. Let's have a truce, please." And I basically showed that in the video. I said, "All right, we'll have a truce. I'll continue laughing at you, and you can suck a bag of dicks."
What that reminds me of, though, is do you guys seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yes.
They were like the Black Knight. You're just sitting there chopping their limbs off. They're like, all right, we'll call it a draw.
Dude, you have no limbs. Stop now.
What are you, chicken?
Wait, what was your story?
You killed, didn't you?
No. Didn't you have another one that you're about to launch into?
Oh, the story, yeah. Okay, so there's a website called LGBTQ something nation, and basically it's a gay trans newspaper, right? So, but the funny thing was there was this story about two men, apparently homophobic men, who were taking a chisel and a sledgehammer to a sidewalk, right, somewhere in San Francisco, where they had painted like rainbow crosswalks on there, right? So they saw these two guys, hammering and chipping away at this concrete, right? And then they made a story about how there's these two homophobic dudes, right, destroying this sidewalk, right? And they've reported the crime to the police, and the police haven't got any suspects yet. And then it just turns out they updated the news story. Turns out these two dudes, they work for the water department, and they're there fixing a pipe.
Oh shit.
We should all get together and like make a lance on MechWarrior Online at some point.
Oh hell yeah! But if you see any member of the Angry Army, they're mine.
How many people are in that? How many people are active in the Angry Army? Would you estimate?
To be honest, I have no idea, because ever since the whole Gamergate thing came out, I stopped going to Angry Joe's website.
Yeah, same here. I think we've covered this in past streams, but it's just like I just found him to be hypocritical. His whole persona.
He claims to be neutral, but he just basically acts and talks like an anti. Just everybody in that guy with glasses is so fucking cucked.
No, because if he wants to be anti, that's fine. I don't really care about that. It was just more of like it exposed though how he doesn't really like his whole shtick is, oh, I'm like
anti. We don't do shticks, we do segments, wiener face.
Heyo. But yeah, he basically just his whole thing is I'm anti-corporate. I'm for the little guy. I'm for the consumer. But then
he's anti-corporate. Isn't he sponsored?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just bullshit. Like the whole thing is just like maybe he started off that way, and I think he genuinely did start off that way. But then he just became like a shill. I mean, he's just basically a shill, and same with
JonTron, same with Boogie, same with Judas Sterling, all of them. The only one.
Like that's what Gigi exposed is a lot of people's like true intentions. Now, I mean,
The
to some
only one
degree,
left is probably Markiplier.
but again, it's not the fact that they're anti though, because they're entitled to their opinion, and that as long as it doesn't affect their work, I don't mind. But a lot of times it does bleed into their work, and it's just like so heavy-handed and just bullshit. And
Yeah,
on the other hand, too,
that's true.
it's hypocritical too. It's like
That's
these
true.
are
And even,
yeah,
even I've
that's the part.
spoken.
Yeah, that's the part I don't like. Like it's
Yeah,
the
just
hypocrisy.
check your politics at the door. In other words, just focus on entertaining your audience. That's all we care about. We just want that escape from the world for about 30 minutes. We don't want to be reminded for 30 minutes about how much it sucks.
How did JonTron become like full SJW then?
Say again?
How did JonTron become like full on SJW? From what I heard. I don't watch his videos. I heard he has. So.
Yeah. Oh, he has? I didn't know that.
Oh,
He
wait.
was always
Honestly,
anti.
hold on. Just remember, guys, the moment anybody isn't 100% behind X, Y, or Z, they go, oh my god, he's such an SJW.
No, I mean, this is
word.
rumor. Take it for what it is. But go ahead.
I was saying, you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
There's always it's it's funny. There's always like nervous. There's like after you do a voice, there's like silence for like a few seconds, and then like nervous laughter, more silence, and then people are like, "I'll just talk about what I was talking about before."
I was making a little joke, sir.
I know. I just find it funny. Anyway, yeah. I didn't. I guess I don't know. I kind of just stopped following e-celebs in general, but
We all did,
I mean,
and rightfully so.
yeah. I mean, on some level though, it's like they're a lot of them. They're doing it for the shekels, right? If they quit their job and this is their full-time job, like I mean, they're gonna probably chase whatever makes them the most shekels. But
Yeah, I mean,
like,
there's nothing wrong with getting paid for your work, but just check your politics at the door. I want my singers to sing, my athletes to play, and my voice actors to voice act.
What if the singer wants to sing about politics?
There's a very, very small few who can actually pull that off and make it look good. Case in point, REM, Bad Religion. You don't want to be the bad examples of bands that sing about politics and just continue to shove their political beliefs down the throat. Looking at you, System of a Down.
Oh shit! Really?
oh, sick burn on System of a Down.
Father, into thy hands, come thy spirit.
Why have you molested me in my pants molested?
Oh, is that that's like a Weird Al Yankovic cover?
I'm sorry. I gotta stop.
I don't know about. We had a band in Australia called Midnight Oil, and their leader, the band leader dude, he eventually became a minister, so who actually was in charge of the environment. So it might get you somewhere. Maybe like what's his name? Something like head of California.
Yeah. But getting back to the whole political issues and celebrities, this is why I got turned off to that guy with the glasses and Channel Awesome in general. When they first started, I was a huge fan of theirs, and I just started watching a lot of their old work. But then as the years went on, they started getting people out of nowhere, and then the Spoonie incident happened. It just started becoming all about feminist politics and left-wing crap that I really just didn't want to hear about. I just wanted some laughter, some comedy, even if it is meme-centric. I didn't give a shit about Diamanda Hagen. I didn't give a shit about Holly Christine Brown's experience as a rape victim. Same with Stephanie Gooch and her bullshit with frickin' Jew Wario.
See, well,
What?
just to segue into um, e-celebs, I guess in general, and but more so their fans. I think that's where we get a lot of problems on both sides of the issue. So, like, because really it's the fans that are half of the problem because they
Oh
enable
hell,
people.
oh
And I'm not
absolutely.
even talking about the whole supporting SJWs. That's fine. I mean, that's their prerogative. But what happens is even the e-celebs within Gamergate, their fans white knight everything they do, even if they do fucked up shit or hypocritical shit. And I mean, we should be able to call out even, internally people that fuck up, right? But
Exactly.
the whole fanboyism thing even bleeds into just gaming in general, like attitudes of gamers. And that's why we still have a lot of problems with like anti-consumer practices, is because things like
Conflicts of
Psychonauts 2.
interest to boot.
Like why would you, after all the information that's come out, why would you still give money to Tim Schafer? Well, people just
Oh
go,
shit.
they go, I don't care because I like the first game and I'm really excited for the second one, so I'm
All
just
right,
gonna give money
my
anyway.
time is up. I gotta get going, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll talk with you guys again in Skype.
All right, take
Take
it easy.
care.
Happy
Happy
New Year,
New
man.
Year.
Thanks. Same
Same here,
Same
guys.
here, guys. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2016. Peace.
I too have to go, for
All
I'm
right.
boiling this heat.
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, Australia's better than America, but this heat. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, all right, get the fuck out of here.
America sucks.
Okay. Yeah, we can just wrap it up in a little bit, but yeah, basically, I mean, that's that's where you get a lot of problems where people just they'll talk about these concepts about we gotta be pro-consumer or we gotta call out bullshit when we see it, but then when it comes to something that they really like, either a game or an e-celeb, they'll like suspend everything that they were talking about for other people.
Mhm.
I mean, and I'm
Now,
sure I'm
hold
guilty
on.
of that too. I'm sure I'm guilty of that too, but it's
You also
something
have to
that.
consider, too, that such things may not be particularly hypocritical. You have to remember, many times people won't state exactly how, like, there's a tolerance point to a lot of these anti-consumer practices, because I understand as well as anybody else does that, you know what, they got to make a buck, you know, and I understand that, So there's a certain tolerance that's there. And then there are people who turn around and act like if you tolerate it even slightly, you're a hypocrite SJW or whatever the fuck else we want to call you, cuck, whatever
Oh yeah,
else we
that's
want to
true.
talk about.
Yeah, that's the
And
extreme other side. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's not true as well, I mean, let people, there's more than just two stances in any situation, Let people explain that. Don't just write them off because, he bought a season pass for a game because he felt like the DLC deserved it. Um,
Yeah,
it's
that's
dumb.
true.
I
That's
guess
true.
the question now is, what's the line?
Well, for me, the line comes where basically I expect at least 1 hour of gameplay for every dollar I spend. That's the way I go with it. If your DLC is not giving me X hours of enjoyment for its price, I'm not going to support it.
And yeah, I never really thought of that too. Like,
Fair
people
enough.
can have their own personal, limits as to what's a good deal and what's not. And then like for me to come in and judge, hey, you bought that, you're anti-consumer. Well, maybe it satisfied your personal threshold. So yeah, that's a good point. I never even thought of it like that. But I think some things are like certain anti-consumer practices are inexcusable. I'm not thinking of any particular one. I'm just saying like sometimes consumers should be making a stand where they're just not. and I would have expected people that were in the consumer revolt would be the first ones in line to kind of push back on that, and sometimes they don't, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, things aren't gonna change if you don't have some sort of like
Can you bring out an
system.
example, man?
Well, okay, like I think so. People are against boycotting in general. I'm not gonna get into that. A lot of people are like afraid of doing it, but one suggestion that was brought up to kind of be in the middle ground is let's just boycott specific anti-consumer practices. So let's just test the waters. Let's just see, can we get an opt together to boycott day one DLC, or so like no pre-orders, no season passes, no day one DLC. We're just not gonna do it, and we're not gonna buy games that have review embargoes that go past, that go up till day one, basically, where we can't read a review before it's bought. So things like that were thrown out there, and people were even against that. And I didn't understand, because it's not against any one particular developer or anything. It's against an entire practice. But they were like, well, no, that's the only way that people can make money. So if we do that, the devs are going to hate us, because sometimes that's the only way that they can get their money back. And I'm just like, why are you? Who
That's
gives
their
a shit?
excuse of saying they want the game. That's all.
It's like, who gives a shit? Why are you making excuses? Like, you can just live without these few games to make things better for the future, but they don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. I don't. I just didn't understand
Well,
why
you
they
can.
wouldn't put their money where their mouth is.
Well, you can also turn around on that too, though. With the day one DLC thing, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but with the day one DLC thing, sometimes that DLC is put there in reference to used game resellers to give the new game more value than a rebought game.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
So
what
you
I'm
also
saying
have
is,
to consider that too.
if yeah, that's a good point. But what I'm saying is, people have to start somewhere, right? Like,
Hmm.
if there was a big push, well, okay, for example, uh, we kind of talked about the Play Asia thing.
Hmm.
I don't even know if that whole situation was just a way of manipulating the anti-SJW sentiment to sell games. But I mean, to some degree, we did show that we could push back against people trying to get Play Asia to self-censor, right? Like,
Hmm.
they got pressure from certain groups, and then we were able, as a consumer base, even however small it was, showed enough support where they decided, you know what, fuck all these threats. We're just gonna go through with we're gonna double down on what we said, because we know we have the support. So like, that needs to start somewhere for the other things. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
maybe you just latch onto one thing. Like, we don't want microtransactions, right? So can we realistically do that? No, but it's a process that needs to start somewhere. I don't believe in that defeatist mentality of like, oh, we don't have enough people, so let's not do it. Well, figure out a way to start getting people to do it. That's not an excuse. Like, none of the things that Gamergate accomplished were really probable. You know, it
Well,
Sure.
it, it, it takes something. You got to get something started, and it could be little baby steps. But to just say, oh, it's not going to work, you know, I don't know.
well, yeah, no, I definitely get to you. This defeatist attitude is just annoying as all hell.
There's too much hand wringing, like, because let's say you try and you fail, right? Well, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Nothing, right?
Hmm.
You, but what bothered me is a lot of people didn't even want to try, or they wouldn't even let you discuss. That is a problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, going forward, maybe it's not so much boycotts, but I don't know. There's got to be that's kind of why I moved away from the gaming aspect of things and just more general anti-political correctness, I guess you want to call it, type of things. Because on the gaming front, that fanboy mentality was so strong in the community that it's much harder to get things done unless it's like a Play Asia situation where it kind of like gets everyone riled up. Those are the only times when people like actually move on things.
Well, honestly, what I think the big problem with that stuff is people oftentimes try to create a catch-all solution to a complicated problem. And again, like I have brought up several issues even with just the boycotting anti-consumer practices, because you gotta kind of really look at it and see if it's really truly anti-consumer or if there's a legitimate cause behind it. And as much as I am loath to say it, perhaps we need a gatekeeper-like group who will look at this stuff logically and just say it like it is. I mean,
here I think you're onto something with the needing to define things, like what constitutes something that is egregious where you would boycott it. Now, here's the difference though. It's a matter of attitude in approaching it. Whereas this is what you brought up, I saw in the chants to people opposed to the boycotts, but their approach was, well, who's going to define, what we boycott and what we don't? Therefore, it's too hard to decide. Therefore, we shouldn't do this. Versus, yes, it's hard to define. Let's start discussing now to figure something out. That's where I was going to go with it. Instead, people were like, oh, it's too hard to decide. Let's not do it at all.
So, Dance, did you hear about that thing for Dead or Alive?
The Play Asia thing, or is there something else to that?
Is that the same thing?
I was talking about, like Play Asia didn't. Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Oh, never mind.
No, I thought it. Okay, yeah, no, it is the same thing. Okay.
It's the same thing. I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
In that case, how would you have handled, for example, with Capcom, how they always fucked over people with the Day One DLC? How exactly would you have handled that one when it comes to boycotts?
Well,
when it comes to Street Fighter specifically.
I mean, if Capcom showed that they continually screwed over the consumer, people should have just said, we're not gonna buy it if you continue to do that. Now, I know the devil's advocate argument is, so what? GG doesn't do it. It's not gonna do anything. I don't think that's the point though. Like, that's not a good excuse to not do it.
Here's my question for you, though. Okay? Before we continue, was this DLC included with all new copies of the game?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Because I thought it was already in the disc.
Well, yeah. Even if it's like if it's already in the
locked,
disc,
it's locked on the disc. Like they made it already. So just to be clear, they made it already, and it's locked on the disc, right? And you have to pay to unlock it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, okay. That's not acceptable.
Yeah. See, I just think that it's common. There's like, I know there are lines onto what's acceptable or not acceptable, but like something like that, couldn't everyone reasonably agree that that's not acceptable? Like, I just feel like why argue that, right?
Disc locked content is bullshit.
Why wasn't, so even if, okay, let's say if I don't even know if GG was around back then, but let's say maybe we were, and okay, we organized something, right? Just even a little push, like let's spread the word that we're not gonna buy this game because of that dislock content. If they're gonna do that, we're not gonna buy it until they fix it or just include it or whatever. And let's say it fails. I still don't think that's a bad thing because there needs to be little steps, right? There needs to be steps until people aren't gonna adopt these boycotts right away. Yeah, like if we start it, okay, it fails, nobody listens. But the next time there will be a little bit more people that go, hey, you know what? Capcom did it again. Those people were right. Well, maybe I'm being optimistic here, but I'm saying most of the things that we've accomplished in Gamergate were due to improbable things that just like caught on because the circumstances were right, and it took it took some time before more people started to catch on, and then things kind of evolved from there. You can't just go, oh, we don't have enough numbers, don't do it. It's just I just don't think that's the right approach, but I don't know. That's just me.
I agree.
Yeah, like again, I've personally got an allowance for it, but if it gets beyond a certain point, I mean, it really needs to be. I hate to say it, but we kind of need to turn it into a PR fiasco.
Yeah, one thing that I suggest, and this is with that specifically with that Play Asia thing, and I learned this from the whole UN cyberviolence report. A really useful thing, to do is to create or you start the inciting event before the SJWs do. So in the case of Play Asia, one thing that I did was they when that lady kind of like threatened them like, hey, I have contacts in the industry who would love to hear about how you basically use SJW as a pejorative on your Twitter account, kind of threatening them. That was kind of like the whole thing. I turned her tweet thing, her threat, into like this propaganda infographic, basically calling her out as threatening them, saying that if we call her out, she's going to pretend like she's going to be the victim. Don't let her get away with it. And I just sent that to PlayAsia, and like it got it got spread around, and like sure enough, I don't know, I don't think, I'm not saying that that one propaganda image did anything, but it got people already preemptively thinking like, oh, she's gonna play the victim, and it took that card away before she could do it. Like, so those are the things that like you like those are little things you can do when you see that kind of thing coming up. Turn the thing into some sort of like infographic or something that you can quickly and easily spread, and always think of what their next move is going to be, which is to try to make up some narrative or play the victim card, call it out, and that takes it off the table. It's a small thing, but it helps.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that's actually kind of like don't be afraid to raise a stink at this point. You know, I mean, they're going to cause us problems. We should cause them problems back.
Yeah, literally, it's
And
taking
stand
a
up and be
page.
counted.
Yeah, it's taking a page out of their own book, right?
No. No.
Well, that whole the way that they control social media is the way that they're able to kind of convey a quick like theirs is based on bullshit. It's always this quick outrage, right? But that's what you kind of have to boil down your, if you have a positive message or a counter message, you have to boil it down into something that's easily spread to people. Like one infographic or one kind of theme, and that's what you hit people up with. If you want to like act on something and get people to act on it quickly, kind of have to make it like really easy for them to share it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody has to do that.
Yeah.
Someone has to just make it real quick, and not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. Like, I mean, you also have to consider too. It's not really like getting our hands dirty with their tactics or anything. It's simply standing up and being counted. That's really all it is.
Yeah, I think that whole situation kind of showed how if you speak up in big numbers at one time, it does make an impact. And yeah, it's not like we're making huge waves in the AAA industry among casuals or anything, but like I said, I think it's little steps that you need to take over time to kind of start spreading the awareness until most people kind of see eye to eye with you. But it's not gonna get that way if you don't keep it up, basically. I think people are waiting for things to happen, which things don't need to happen, right? But if you don't want to be reactive all the time, then you need to be on the offensive. Like you think you find something that you see they're gonna do, or you find some act that they're bullying somebody, then you go make the event. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm saying like that's the mentality that needs to be, I think, fostered into the next year if we want to continue pushing back. Because let's be honest, they're not gonna stop, right? Like, if anything, they're just gonna be more determined.
2016 can't come soon enough. Shit.
The SJW crusades.
Yeah, people keep saying it's like, oh, 2015, that's where all this shit's over. It's like, no, it's just beginning, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
honestly, we've seen more and more of a public pushback.
Yeah, 2015 was like the red pilling year. Like that's the year. The South Park again is a big indicator of that. Like that's when we saw that people were taking notice of this, right? But what happens next is we just identified the problem, right? At this point, I think, and that kind of fed into a lot of people's early celebrations within Gamergate. They were like, "Yep, we got disclosures on the on those sites, so we won. Pack it
Oh
up,
yeah,
guys." See,
the classic.
that was
We
wrong.
won, guys. Let's go home.
It's like the George Bush mission accomplished.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm not gonna go as far as to say that that was like some sort of secret SJW light propaganda, but I'm just saying that was an ill-advised thing to say. Maybe they truly believe that, but I think that's a detrimental attitude to have.
Well, yeah, you can't get complacent. I mean, the fight's just starting, really. I mean, these people are really just kind of driven by a hatred of everything we have. So you really can't stop. Like, it's really a battle for annihilation. Hilariously enough, like 40K is actually applicable here. It's an eternal crusade, an eternal war. And
That was a long pause.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm doing like 6 different things.
No.
But at the end of the day, I mean, really, freedom is a privilege, not a right. And it's only given to those who have the willpower and strength to fight for it. If you think it's too hard to continue to fight for yourself and your freedoms and everything else, then you don't deserve them. It's that simple.
Yeah,
Well, do you think some people are gullible enough to follow some e-celeb who are willing to say, "Hey, man, at this point, it's job done." Not naming any names, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I think we all know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean the fans of that person are definitely. I don't know. Maybe they truly believe that or whatever. I just didn't understand it because
I don't know why I
they
said
would.
that. It's fucking Sargon. Anyway, go ahead.
Who? No, I mean, honestly, I don't really have a problem with him. I just didn't really. I mean, I'm not really that big of a fan anymore. But that's fine. Whatever he wants to say. Again, like I said, it's it's also his fans though. It's like if an e-celeb like him says something like that, right, and it doesn't jive with you, then you just go, yeah, it's mission not accomplished. I still like your videos, but I don't understand why you said that. The thing is, they don't want to even have that discussion. Like, it's just like, no, he's
Well,
right. He's right. It is over. We got what we wanted.
it's
What else do you want?
it's
They're
kind
so
of like a
like,
bizarro version of like moving the goalposts, except instead of moving the goalposts further away, they moved it closer to just end it.
yeah,
Sure.
and it's like, was that really our end game to get disclosures on, like, and the whole thing never made any sense because he said the SJW thing is secondary. It shouldn't have any place in the discussion. Yet his whole channel was based on like
He did say that. Yeah.
anti-SJW talk. Like, that's basically how he made his viewer base, like, off of talking about that. So the whole, I mean, I don't know. I know that's been rehashed millions of times. I think he's kind of, from what I hear, he's kind of come around a little bit on these issues. Like, he's not so. I think he's a little bit more open to his criticism now, but you know, it's just a cautionary tale. Like, don't stop worshiping like e-celebs. Like, it's okay to be a fan of somebody, but you need to critically think about what they're saying. If anybody tells you that, like, we've accomplished one task in terms of gaming ethics or journalism, or we've took one SJW down, like, and we've already proved it, that's it. Like, they're lying to you. This is gonna be a long fight, whether you like it or not. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to do that, then go do something else and just live your life and be happy. But it's not going to be fixed anytime soon. It's a huge, like, cultural systematic problem, like, that we're trying to push back against. There's no way we can solve this in a year.
Yeah, no, there's no way. Well, you see, honestly, I blame Bush and the Bush era neocons for this whole issue. Honestly, they really, in my opinion, created the environment with which this just propagated itself.
Do you think because of the backlash to their policies? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this is the backlash to their policies going wild.
Like what specifically? Like the Iraq War or what?
Well, no, just the general neocon attitude. Like, think about it. Like, if you really look at it, the whole stance of their modern day attitudes are directly contrarian to the Bush era neocons. Like, on every issue.
Okay.
It's really hard for me to pin down one or two things because it's like just about everything, from gay marriage to their stances on racial issues to, honestly, like, I'd be harder pressed saying what they don't disagree on, and honestly, it's that the government should be watching what you do in the bedroom, basically.
Which is interesting because the way that conservatism was sold is that we want less government, right? And it's like interesting how it it was basically the opposite. Same with Obama too.
Yeah, I would argue
not
that
with less government, but in terms of, like, his whole platform was change, and we're going to clean up Washington and get rid of corruption and encourage whistleblowers. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that never happened.
Not to change the subject, but similar. Like, how the politicians sold their policies was completely opposite of what you got.
Mm-hmm. Well, you gotta really, when it comes to politics, there's two things you look at and two things only. Who's paying them off, and how long have they been saying what they're saying? Again, the reason why I like the guy I like right now is because he's been pretty consistent.
Who's that?
You're going to make fun of me. I actually like
Sure.
Sanders.
No shit, huh?
Really?
Yeah, I actually kind of like him.
Alright.
I
No,
like
I
the
mean,
reaction. You're like,
whatever. No, whatever. It's a free country. Who gives a shit?
I'm gonna trash you.
Honestly,
I mean, me personally, I was raised like somewhat conservative, and I'm still somewhat am. I mean, the way I see it is Obama, specifically now, has fucked many working class people over with this Affordable Care Act. Completely.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, that is the single issue that actually has made a negative impact on my life. Like every other politician's policies never really affected me, except for the Affordable Care Act. Like it totally fucked me personally. But continue.
Ditto. Yeah, and so I mean, I can understand. I'm a little bit wary when it comes to Democrats who are saying, "Oh, we need more
you
health
do know
care.
that
We need more
Bernie's
this, we need
literally
more that."
burning down the DNC right now, right?
What's that?
Bernie's burning down the DNC right now.
Burning down? Oh, good one.
No,
Clever.
you didn't hear about that?
No,
I
I was
got a
making a
glimpse of it.
pun joke. Sorry, go ahead.
Wait,
Yeah.
Disregard me.
wait.
Yeah,
So
no,
say it again. He was burning down the MC. What?
The DNC, yeah. Basically, the DNC tried to bring some big, trumped-up charge on him and everything, and instead of having the effect of discrediting him and knocking him out of the race, people are now bringing into question several allegations of corruption within the DNC itself.
It's kind of like what Trump's doing.
Yeah.
On the other
Well, I
side.
mean, Trump himself is corrupt, but I mean, it's in a sense. I mean, when Democrats, when either Republicans or Democrats who wants to, when they say, "Oh, we want to tax," excuse me, we want to everybody to have free health care. We want everybody to have free college. I mean, surely you would know that it's not really free when you think about it. People are going to be taxed. Yeah.
Honestly, when it comes to that shit and everything, okay. I'm sorry, hold on. Some fucking light mech thinks he's people.
It's like you think he's thinking about something, but he's actually just playing Mech Warrior.
That's fine. I mean,
it's a giant robot fix. Shut up. But
I'm actually glad this actually sounds really well. I'm doing this off my phone, but anyway.
Yeah, no, it sounds wonderful. I was actually going to comment. You have a nice voice.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I compliment people really strangely for no reason.
Anyway, what are you saying?
Well, honestly, like the idea of free healthcare, are quote unquote free. I know it's not actually free. I personally think that like I've been watching my my father actually being destroyed by healthcare costs. So I can understand a desire to lower that cost too. Really, I feel like there should be a measured response to these situations that shouldn't be all one way or another. But honestly, I'm personally a fan of a single payer setting. Personally.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, it just doesn't work out for me, and I guess the way I was raised, it's just not something that I agree with, but I do understand that your personal background is gonna really inform, like your decisions on these things. So like, I'm not, I understand.
Yeah. I just put MechWarrior down for now because I should probably focus on this.
Yeah, it's like I'm reacting to what the Affordable Care Act did to me. It totally fucked me over. I had a good system going before, and it came in, and it's complete shit now for me personally. So I react to that. But I tend to be more, I think, like Andy. I'm from a conservative family, but I moved more to the center, as I got older. But I'm still more kind of center right. Not quite libertarian, but somewhere in between there.
Yeah, like it's funny. I used to be far further to the left than I am now. However, I've come to realize that when you go into a discussion like this, when you go into an argument, well, not an argument, like a debate, you have to go in with an open mind. You can't go in thinking, yeah, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. It's actually more of a matter of coming in here and seeing where their stance is or why they think the way they think.
Yeah, that's why I like talking to you because actually most of the people that I talk to within Gamergate kind of reflect my views. They're more on the alt-right or libertarian. You're one of the few that are actually still kind of more on the left side, but like you're like super reasonable on when we talk about these things. You know what I mean? It's really it's interesting. Because
Well,
like there's not a lot of people like I feel like Gamergate kind of attracts a lot of people that kind of were maybe on the left or unsure, and then now they're like super libertarian or alt right, and
yeah.
I think it's interesting like you're able to retain some of your kind of like left ideas, but you're reasonable when it comes to these like social issues we're talking about.
Well, like honestly, where I differ from most people is honestly, you really got to think when you're talking about government and politics, people have a different idea as to what the role of government should be. My personal belief is that the government should advocate for its people and work to improve the standard of living for everyone. Personally, that's my belief. Otherwise, why is it even there? That's how I see it. Is it the right way to be? I don't know. Uh, but from what I've experienced, it seems a reasonable assumption based on the Bill of Rights and other things I've read.
Andy, you want to jump in here? What do you think about?
No, yeah. I mean, I could agree. I mean, I see some of his points. Like, it's complicated because I know we were just talking about healthcare, and I mean, like I said, I'm I guess conservative to heart. I believe in the free market. I believe that it knows best when it comes to this. I mean, yeah, it's not free, but yeah, for the most part, without government intervention, it's beneficial.
I'm sorry you finish, but I actually have a particular response to that argument.
All right, how about it?
There's a reason I've rejected that specific argument. But you finish what you're saying.
No, that was it.
Okay. All right. And first off, I'm just going to be clear with you right now, and in the future too. When I say something, I want people to attack it.
Okay.
So come at me full force. If you feel like what I'm saying is bullshit, call me on it. My personal belief is that can only make me stronger because it will kill off my weak ideas and premises and make the ones that are already strong even stronger.
Mm.
But listen, my problem with letting the free market do itself or take care of itself is that we have used that kind of a system before. It ended up with children losing hands and arms in factories and shit. So, like, I understand what you're saying, but I also want to look back and say, such things were put in place for a reason. We don't just have all this, and I will admit, governmental bloat for no reason.
You're talking about the corruptible portion of it, right? Like people abuse their position and power, right? Like it
Well,
becomes no longer like free market. It's like there's people that take advantage of their position, right?
well, you also have to remember too. I liken it to like you guys have played Monopoly, right?
Yes.
You guys have played it. There's still rules to it, right? You know, you can't just go do whatever you want. There has to be a set of rules to keep the game flowing. I kind of see the economy in a similar light, where there have to be some type of rules and regulations in place to prevent people from going completely off the rails and ruining it for everyone. And historical trends tend to support this because just about every major economic downturn we've had was preceded by an era of deregulation.
Okay.
So, again, I do believe there's going to be a sweet spot there. It's not that I don't believe in a free market, but rather that the market needs to be. I'm not even going to
Somewhat regulated, or
regulated to a point,
I
really.
think. Well, Andy, do you think were you saying that you advocated for a completely free market, or would you agree that like some
No, absolutely. I think it should be
regulation?
regulated. Yeah.
I think that's something that we probably all agree on, to be honest. Like, because I am actually more to the right on economic issues, and I do support the free market, but I do acknowledge that, like, you know, some CEOs are greedy, and like, if they could just get one less yacht this year, it would mean paying more people, like paying their workers a more decent wage, but they don't do it, right? Like, that's an attitude that they're entitled to have, but like that's kind of it's kind of dick, right? Like,
Um,
Sure.
I mean, is that their right? Yeah, but like I don't know about. So I don't know if regulation is the key, but like I feel like that's the attitude that kind of sours things, right? Like they're entitled to their millions and billions, but it's like, did you really have to fuck over your employees for the one more jet, you know?
hold
Like,
on. Well, finish.
no, that's it.
Okay, I have a particular problem with the E word, entitled. You are, people in general, you're entitled to the dirt of your grave. That's it. Everything else is earned. And I'm going to be entirely honest, I'm getting tired of seeing handouts being given to people who either don't deserve it or don't need it. And I'm not just talking on one side or the other. I mean, from the top to the bottom. I'm getting sick and tired of the average person paying like, what is it, like $4,000 a year in like, you know, corporate welfare. You know, I mean, I don't think the average taxpayer should be paying their share. Maybe I'm crazy, but
You
I
know,
think everyone should pay a fair share.
what's interesting to me? Um, I feel like that's also a talking point for the like right, but like
It certainly is. Yeah.
in a different way, because it's like I think Duke's coming at it from corporations are out of control and they should be paying their fair share, because there's a lot of people struggling and it's not fair. And then the right would say everyone should pay their fair share and we shouldn't be giving people who abuse the system and just are on perpetual welfare, or illegal immigrants that just never assimilate.
Like,
Like, so it's like interesting because it's like the same point, but it's like people
okay,
come at it from completely opposite
you see,
ends.
the reason here, though, is I do agree with you that that's not okay. And this is where, you know, my friends on the left say, what the fuck are you saying? Then the people on the right are looking at me all kinds of bewildered. Look, I understand illegal immigration, all this kinds of stuff, it is an issue. But when I'm looking at $4,000 a year versus between $40 and $50 a year for the average taxpayer, what do you think I'm going to worry about more? I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's a bigger issue. That there's more bleeding happening in one spot, and that should be handled first. You know?
I agree, but I think it goes beyond just taxing the rich.
Well, it's never been about taxing or non-taxing the rich. I personally want to see tax cuts in general go away.
Okay, good.
Why can't it be like, I wonder why it has to be such a left versus right issue? Like, why can't it be both, where it's like tighten up people abusing like tax loopholes and stuff on the corporate level, and then also wrap up people abusing the system and milking it on the welfare level, you know? Like, I don't know, I would agree with both of those things.
Sure.
And I'm more on the right side, you know, I'm more conservative, but like, I'm okay with, like, I acknowledge that that there are a lot of rich people that abuse the system as well. I think for some reason on the right, we just only tend to look at people abusing the system on the lower end of things as the most important item, and then people on the left only look at corporate abuse as the most, you know. I don't know. It's just,
No, I agree.
yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't
Like,
know. I feel like
seem
what's
to,
good
like,
for the goose is what's good for the gander. And if you're gonna give some people cuts, you either need to give everyone cuts or you need to give nobody cuts. You can't be playing favorites. And I can understand, you know, on the lower end of the strata, sometimes people need a little bit of help pulling themselves up. But that should be, I hate to call such things welfare, because it should be more looked at as an investment in bringing people up than, say, how do I put this? Like, they're just giving them enough money to survive, you know? I mean, I feel like if you're just giving them like barely enough to make ends meet, I mean, they're not going to get any better. They're just going to get stuck in that trap. Why not try to equip them with the ability to improve their lives?
I agree with you. So
Sure.
and not even that's actually like what I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Again,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna bring Andy into it. Is there any candidate that is interesting to you at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time. I mean, if Trump gets the GOP, then yeah, he's got my vote. But I mean, I've got a couple of candidates I'm looking at as far as the Republican side. I hate to sound one-sided, but Jim Webb was my candidate as far as Democratic sides goes, and as far as I know, he left. I don't know if he's going to run again, but yeah, I mean,
He was the guy that, like, wasn't he a Nam vet or something?
yeah, I was, yeah.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah. It's funny because the progressive media made fun of him.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's not him, if it's not Trump or him, it's either Cruz or Rubio.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. There was one thing that happened with Trump that steamed me off, and I actually personally have a vendetta against the Republican Party, I will admit. Hold on. I also have a vendetta against the Democratic Party. The reason why I like Sanders is because he's actually a independent running on the Democratic ticket. But
Oh, he is?
yeah, he's always been an independent. He's like the only independent in Congress right now. It's the reason why he's burning down the DNC and has no fear of it.
I didn't know that.
What?
I thought he was. Well, I don't
well, I mean, I
follow
thought he was
left
Democrat.
politics.
Yeah.
I've liked Sanders for years, man. He's been calling people on shit since the 90s.
Oh, how was he as a governor of Vermont? Not to stray off too off topic.
Well loved from what I understood.
Okay.
Like he's got a lot of support in Vermont. So
He kept the maple syrup flowing when he was governor.
Well, all I have to say is any governor that can end his governorship with positive feelings from his people is a good governor. That's
Guess
all
that's
I'm going to
fair.
say.
That's true.
Because
It
the
always
governor
usually.
tends to earn all the ire.
Hmm.
But, like, my issue with Trump and the Republican Party at large is the Republican Party seems to constantly put, I'm not saying Democrats aren't guilty of it too, but Republican Party are more vocal, as I've noticed, about focusing more on the party's interests than the nation's interests. Like, back in the day, and this really steamed me. I was further left than I was, but it's something that would upset me even now. And that was when they said that their number one objective was to make Obama a one-term president. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, what you want to do, or anything. If you're in our government, your first job, your first duty should be to the American people, to work for them and advocate for your constituents and people. It shouldn't be about scoring political points or shit like that. It shouldn't be about stalling the government so you can make some whatever. It should be about advocating for our people. And again, like what they made Trump sign an oath of allegiance to the Republican Party. It was fucking bullshit. No, I can't. The only allegiance you should have is to the American people.
You know where I disagree with that though is I think you are equating stopping Obama or the Democrats' actions with like some sort of affront to the American people. Like
Mm. No,
I
no, no,
think
no,
the
no.
Republicans
My
stop it
issue,
because we
you're
don't want.
misunderstanding me. My issue isn't that they wanted to stop Obama's policies. My issue is that they placed that above the American people. You should. They said that was their number one priority.
But isn't that the priority of every political part? Like that, like I feel like that's just what every party does, right? They want to stop the other guy from winning.
Well, nowadays, yes. In the past, not so much. I mean, if you look back as far as the fucking Civil War, we had people beating each other to death in fucking Congress. That actually happened. And at the end of the day, yeah, there's some guy actually took out a hickory cane and beat someone to death with it in
Oh yeah, it
Congress
was
on the
in our
congressional
back.
floor.
Yeah, they would give like beer to free beer to like get votes, and it
But you
worked.
see, the thing is, though, is at the end of the day, they still came together and they still passed some bills. You know, it
But
wasn't
that,
like
well, why is that the litmus test? Like that blocking things that we feel are detrimental to the country, I think you're saying basically like you should pass stuff even if you don't like the president. Like
no, no,
you
no,
should
no, no,
work
no.
together to pass something. But like I think like that's kind of actually well, here's some like inside the Republicans' minds, right? Like the reason why there's like a divide nowadays is because people felt like we've been capitulating uh, to things that go against conservative ideals because they didn't. There people were afraid of being labeled as, oh, you just shut down the government for your party, when in fact it like if there's something that's being introduced, right? And we can't get our spin on it or get our like some sort of compromise on that, then stopping it from preventing it from even passing at all was the next step, and then that was just viewed as like, oh well, that means you're putting your party ahead of. But it's like that's the whole divide now because the establishment is like, no, you do act. They're taking your stance, right? They do have to pass stuff and work together because that's in the best interest of the people. Wherein there's a growing, and I would say even a majority at this point, where within the conservative movement that are saying, no, you should block everything. I don't care if you shut the government down. Like, we don't want these things, so if they're not going to compromise, we're okay with it not passing. We're okay with things just stalling. Like, we
Well,
want you to do
no.
that.
Look, okay, and you completely misunderstood with what I was saying. I am completely okay with you not passing something you believe is detrimental. I totally understand that. My issue comes down to when you start turning it into a goddamn circus. And listen, I don't give a fuck if you have a problem. I want to see you at least trying to address a solution. And I'm sorry, but from what I saw, and I look through what goes through Congress, I try to read through the shit that comes, like, because they have to put those bills up publicly. I look through those bills. I actually try to stay current with them. I'm not always good at it, but I do try. And in the past few years, for the most part, what I've seen from the Republican Party is that they've been shutting things down, but not really bringing much to the table. Out of them, mostly I hear about is Benghazi and repeal Obamacare, which, as you said, has negatively impacted both of you, so I can understand that being a major hot ticket item. But
how is that different than what I said then? Like, how did I misunderstand? Because you're still saying that
no, I'm
you are
saying
blocking
bring.
stuff without bringing something. I'm saying that we don't. If there is a compromise, like there's always okay, like if a Democrat introduces a bill, right, that's gonna be their best pitch, right? So a Republican will counter with their best pitch, which is gonna be the far extreme other side, and you kind of go back and forth until you find some sort of middle ground, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, are you saying that on the right they didn't even try and just said no to everything? Because if that's true, then I would agree with you. But if from what
As
I
far as I've
understand,
seen, from my understanding, particularly the newer, younger Republicans have begun to treat the term compromise as an incredibly dirty word.
okay, I
Um,
see what you're saying. I think I
I
get
guess
what
I
you're
can
saying now.
agree with that. I mean, we did have a government shutdown after all because
I
of
think I
Congress.
get, yeah, I think I get what you're saying now. Yeah, because actually that's true. So they are basically reflecting the will of their constituents, which are saying we do not want to Yeah, so actually you're right. Yeah. But at the same time, they are reflecting what a lot of the Republican or conservative base wants. So yeah, I think your gripes are legitimate. I guess I just don't think like I don't. I guess if since I would be part of that a little bit, then I don't really see it. I think it's not detrimental to the whole nation, like because that's what they truly believe
um,
is
but
like
the
they
fact
think
that
that
we
that
have our government has effectively done absolutely nothing
well see
of
they
any
view but
major use.
I know but what you gotta understand is they view that as that's what the Republicans are there for to stop the what they view as
So,
left ideas fundamentally changing things. They would rather nothing happen
but
than in a stall.
but stagnation is death. That destroys the country. They would rather burn the
And
entire country.
that's
Hold on, they would
but they
rather
don't
burn
view it
the
that
entire
way.
country.
But
But
they don't
that
view it that way though.
that is how countries are destroyed. Look at fucking history.
But you're saying just pass stuff just to pass it? I
I'm not
mean,
saying just pass stuff just to pass stuff, but don't just sit there and say no, 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 no. Bring something to the table. Work with people. If you just sit there and say no, 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 it's going to destroy everything.
mm,
It
I
will.
but what like what's the
Inaction is as deadly as action.
okay? Yeah, I think that would just be a fundamental difference of opinion. Like I don't think it's like that bad. Like I don't think it's gonna do anything really, because I think it's all bullshit on both sides. But I do understand where you're coming from, and you are right though. It's just that people on the right and then conservatives don't view it as like stagnation is death. They view it as a good thing. and they're not like they're not honestly they're not concerned. They want it. They want it more. I don't know if you have any opinion on this, Andy.
Well, I mean, from what correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm trying to understand is your gripes are about Congress turning down bills that not necessarily Obama, but Democratic uh,
Like
uh,
they won't compromise.
party have made.
Yeah.
My issue is of a complete refusal to attempt to work with somebody of a different stance than them.
Okay, I guess that's fair. No, I mean, sure. Within the Republican Party, sure, there have been certain parts of it that have been negligent to legitimate gripes. So yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I would say there's probably like specific instances where they should have done something and I would agree with you, but there's probably other times where I would disagree and say like they did the right thing by standing their ground and not budging.
Oh,
But I'm not gonna say across the board they should just not budge, right? Like there's probably a lot of stuff where they should have maybe discussed. But again, I didn't really like study every bill, so you seem to be more
Well, I
well
can't
versed in
say
that.
I've
So.
studied every bill, but I try to stay on top
But
of
do you see what I'm
things.
saying though? Like it's just a fundamental like you feel very strongly that people need to compromise to at least pass something that both people can agree on,
Mhm.
whereas a lot of them view it as that's their way of rebelling or I guess dissenting. That's their dissent. Like certain issues they will not budge. It's all or nothing, and maybe I agree with you a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit much, but I don't know. That's just kind of maybe I feel like it's a reaction though. Like a lot of
Yeah.
conservatives, like that's just like you have to understand like it right now it's kind of chaos in the GOP. So a lot of hardcore conservatives like they don't know what the fuck is going on right now, and I guess I could understand that you're saying, they need to put the interests of American people first over your little party dispute. I get that, but it's just a reaction, I think. Like,
Well, what I think another thing that has come in, and I blame again Bush era for this, is there's a huge identity crisis gripping America, and the identity crisis really comes down to what does it really mean to be American? Because at least from my opinion, from my ground eye view here, we came in, we we were fed this line about America being the land of equality and opportunity and all these great fucking things. And then, the Patriot Act happened and we weren't really free anymore. And then all of these things started chipping away at what the real identity of being American meant. And we've gotten to the point where the idea of what is American is fractured. Some people believe that to be American is to be equality for everything. Other people believe that to be American is freedom, free from all government, and everyone's going every which way about what it means to be American. I feel like we've lost our way.
well, would you advocate for what, like something in the middle, or did you have a
Well,
certain idea in mind?
my personal belief is that being American means that you should aspire to ideals, and this is one of my major gripes with Trump, actually, particularly with his Muslim ban and everything else. Are you guys familiar with the New Colossus?
No.
No, sorry.
It's the poem that is printed on the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
Oh, the feed us, give us your
Yeah.
hungry. Yeah.
Look, all right, I understand, and I understand the issues and the fears and everything else, but first off, okay, I can't advocate a banning based on a religious affiliation. I can't. Listen, if the guy decided to ban everyone coming in from, like Afghanistan, Iran, whatever else have you, if it was based on nations, I could understand that. But I don't know. Like, there's just something that rubs me the wrong way about it. And when I brought that up, I had somebody tell me specifically that the new Colossus is outdated and shouldn't be used as a litmus for what it means to be American.
Well, but what's the? I mean, I don't think
And I
what
mean,
people.
I'm sorry, I can't think of anything more American than the Statue of Liberty.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
uh, me personally, when it comes to his Muslim ban, first of all, I mean, looking at Trump, he said that same thing about Mexicans. Think about it carefully. Neither of those things can be done, no matter how you look at it. What are you gonna do? Tell some guy, some brown guy at an airport to eat some bacon? It's. I think it's. I mean, jokes aside, I think it's incredibly complex to try to do kind of bad to a specific.
But by the way, I think sorry, I don't think it would work because I think if you're on, I believe they're allowed to break the rules if they're on like a jihad. Like it doesn't apply anymore. They can do whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
But go ahead.
No, but I mean, look, I have my own views about Islam. I don't think it's all bad, but I mean, when you think about what Donald Trump is saying, he's like, oh, you ban all Muslims. It can't be fucking done. Think about it carefully.
Yeah, here's yeah, you know what? I think I know what Duke's getting at though. Like, well, for me, there is a degree of that's kind of if you're a conservative and you're for Trump, you're gonna give those things a pass. But the way that we look at things is, it's kind of like he's just basically doing art of the deal. Basically, what you do is you throw out your best case scenario, and it's kind of like we were talking about earlier with Congress. They're gonna throw out something back that's extremely on their end, and then you kind of meet in the middle. Does that that doesn't translate well to politics? Obviously, what he said is like super inflammatory, but it got the discussion going, and kind of what Andy's saying, knowing that that's not going to actually happen, it got thrown out there, right? The far extreme version, and then it works its way into the middle because there still needs to be something done about that situation, right? I don't think that we should just leave immigration open while we sort out the issues. Like, I feel like we should probably sort out the issues first. Probably not going to be a religious ban, but there's got to be some sort of selective process or profiling. I mean, that's just reality. I mean,
Well,
I don't really. I don't think we should stop immigration, but like yeah, if we have to pause it, we have to pause it.
You know what, though? I have the perfect idea. Okay, it's twofold. All right? We stop being a bitch about this gun control thing, right? And let people arm themselves, and then let them come over.
You're
There you
saying
go.
you're doing you're actually taking
No.
our subversive approach, push
No,
it
no,
to the
no, no, no,
extreme.
no. No, but seriously, think about this, okay? Because this is what has struck me as, all right? Hiding behind our borders from an enemy.
Mhm.
That's cowardly.
Sure.
We're going to lock ourselves into a cage to protect ourselves. Don't we have the Second Amendment there specifically so we can defend ourselves if something like this happens?
But why let people in when they're? I don't get it. Like they're already, they're gonna abuse the system. Oh, were you being facetious though?
Well, no, I'm flat out
Oh, okay.
saying, like,
Okay.
literally, like, honestly, like, really. Instead of causing this big fucking deal, why don't we, put on our big boy pants and start actually taking a vested interest in our own freedom?
Well, I guess I would be more open to that if if I was actually allowed to arm myself. But I
You
am
live
in
in California,
California, but
Stan.
I'm in California, Stan. But I am armed, but like it's
Yeah.
such a bitch, and like I can't even like if I was in my car and the San Bernardino terrorist dudes pulled off their first initial plan, which was to throw pipe bombs in the freeway and just start popping people in their cars. Like I can't carry it in my car. So like I'd just be dead anyway. I have a gun, but what's the point, you know? Like I can only use it in one place, like in my house. Like
Yeah.
it's useless.
Like, honestly, again, it's funny because I'm so left on so many issues, but I personally believe that, we should uh, be able to take our own safety into our own hands.
You're like the weirdest lefty guy I know.
Well, it's my life, you know?
Hey, a pro lefty guy that's pro guns is cool with me.
Yeah, I just think that like the things that we differ on, we can have a debate about, but the things that like I feel like are really important, you're really reasonable. So like that's why
That's
it's
why I keep me
totally cool.
around.
Yeah, that's why we keep you around. Um, yeah, but what are the gun laws like in your state?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'm in New Jersey, so they're a bit more restrictive, but not that restrictive.
Probably kind of like California. Like it's super restrictive, but I can still have.
No. Like we actually allow concealed carry, I believe, in the state.
Oh, nice. It's allowed in California, but it's really hard to get a permit.
Mm.
What about you, Andy?
I live in the belt buckle of the Bible Belt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you've got no problems then, right?
So
So he's got
basically,
machine guns and shit.
no, it's really not. I mean, people think it's like that, but it's actually restrictive in its own sense. You can have a gun in your car, just as long as you can prove that you bought it. Um, you don't even need a shooting license or a concealed carry. They just passed concealed carry in this state, so
Hmm.
that's pretty much it.
Like, honestly, as far as gun control goes, my view of it, really, people should be allowed to get just about whatever they want, so long as they can pass a basic background test and go through a gun safety course. Get
What about
certified you're safe to carry a
mental
weapon.
health?
Well, of course, a mental health evaluation, because that can be pretty fucked up too. Um,
Part of the problem with the mass shootings that we've had where it was somebody that was mentally ill, like a lot of that was people knew, but they didn't want to say anything because like I don't know, maybe they didn't want to offend the person or raise a stink. Like it's like that was a big part of it. I noticed like it was kind of a trend. Well, whether it be the mental health issue or people seeing something suspicious, like people didn't want to like report stuff. Like the mom of that one guy in I forgot which one because there's so many shootings this year, but
There's so many shootings in America.
I know.
funny enough, it's still one of the least bloody years in our history, though.
Oh yeah.
I find that to
Is
be
that
hilarious.
yeah. What does that say?
What is that stat? What is the number of years? The number of years we've existed, we've only been at war, but all but 1 year. That should tell you how fucked
Oh,
up
for
we
real?
are.
No, that statement counts both the. It actually ends up counting years twice. That ends up counting the entirety of the Cold War along with every individual conflict in the Cold War and adding the years together, because we apparently lived more than 1 year in each of those years because of the war or some shit.
It goes That
It's closer to roughly about half of the time that we've been around, we've been at war.
There you go.
Which is still a lot more than it should be, but not that bad.
see, numbers will tell you anything if you torture them long enough.
It's just like people then.
How are you doing on time, Duke? You look sleepy.
Yeah, it's 4:15 a.m. I should have been in bed a while ago.
All right, let's just do like one or two more, one topic or something, just to wrap it up. I guess why don't we just talk about 2016, looking ahead. Where do you see? I guess just in general, the anti-SJW, anti-political correctness thing going. Predictions. You have any like goals or
Well,
where you'd like to see things go?
the way I see us going is the SJWs have more than worn out their fucking welcome. Even fucking South Park has taken their sights on them, which is going to influence public opinion a lot. Honestly, what I see happening is people getting sick and tired of the bullshit. People getting sick and tired of people constantly sitting there and complaining and standing up and saying something about it. I think we're going to see this as the year of backlash, really, where people just kind of had it. That's where I see this going.
Yeah, I hope that's true. Andy, what do you think?
I completely agree, and I would hope that, who knows, maybe we might see organized rallies. I guess not necessarily SJWs, but whether it's PC police or all that other bullshit.
You PC, bro?
Do you any thoughts on I guess Gamergate specifically in 2015 and like where you see? I guess what do you think about it in general?
I
and
think
where
for
do
the
you think
most part
going?
it's dead. Unfortunately, sorry to cut you off, but I think for the most part it's dead. I think I mean, it's dead, but it's still relevant because they seem to, some parts of it I do agree with. For example, I mean, y'all mentioned GG report earlier. I think they still have their place when it comes to calling out bullshit.
You see,
In the Chan boards, anyway.
yeah.
So, in a sense, they still have their place, but they're still relevant, but not so much. But it's not to say I don't want them to exist. It's just, yeah, they're just there.
Well, as far as I see it, Gamergate and people in general, especially people who were previously involved in Gamergate and left or anything, they really need to do two things. Take their head out of the ass and get over themselves. Really. There's a bigger problem here. A much bigger problem. We had dead to rights proof of fucking conspiracies. Alright? I mean, this whole situation, Gamergate in general, was honestly a planned thing that went awry. So, it's really kind of silly how these people, see their own drama as being more important than the drama, that's affecting or going to affect millions of people, and how they, get so caught up on, oh no, it's just about games, not to realize that if society fucking collapses, so will their fucking games.
Yep, I think you were mentioning that we were talking about that offline. Just like the inability, like okay, if gaming I guess is your cause, that's fine, but it's just like the inability to expand beyond that, because when you see a segue into a larger issue with the with SJWs or just rampant political correctness in a segment of society in general, like they're typically don't want to get into that. They just kind of want to no. I'm in this for games and that's it. And it's kind of like
It's
damn it.
lazy.
It's like you had the chance to attack the source of the problem, but you didn't. You didn't. So
It's like you can either keep treating the symptoms or you can cut the tumor out.
yeah, a lot of what I see the same defeatist attitude though. It's like, well, what do you want us to do? Take on huge corporations? It's like, yeah, we kind of have
We
to. I
already
mean,
did.
it's not gonna. I mean, it's not gonna be it's not gonna work right away. But yeah, we kind of have to. I mean, what the fuck do you want us to do? I mean, you could just keep attacking Brianna Wu if you want, but that's not really gonna do much.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of actually Poland. Not sure if you guys are aware, but in the 20s, the Bolshevik Russians came running over the Polish border attempting to crush the Poles as they were being newly founded. The relatively newly founded sovereign Polish army managed to beat off the Russians. Then,
Beat off the Russians?
Yeah, they beat off the Russians in the 20s.
Man,
They like
That must
fucking
have been a
kicked their
lot.
asses.
that must have been a lot of jizz.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
Because you said, never mind.
There's a reason
I
why
can
that
tell
area is white.
I can
this
tell
time
you're
of year.
sleepy. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, stupid joke. Go on.
Yeah, but then, everyone acts like they just rolled over and died when Nazi Germany came over, and they didn't. I know you've probably heard me talk about this before, but Sigil, are you familiar with Wisna River?
Remind me.
The Battle of Wisna River, September 8th, 1939. I believe.
Keep going.
Okay, so I'm trying to think, is it 38 or 39? Either way, Hitler's army comes over. The Wehrmacht comes roaring through Poland, right? Well, they hit this area called the area around this area called Wisna River, where there were a set of bunkers. Roughly, the reports vary, but there were between 360 to 720 Polish soldiers here, facing down 40,000 Germans, armed with tanks, aircraft, artillery support, and the Polish had 50 machine guns and 10 World War I anti-tank rifles at their disposal. There was no winning there. There was no way they were getting out there alive, But did they just roll over and let them roar right through them? They fought back. They held for 3 days against those odds. And I don't know, it sometimes brings tears to my eyes thinking of it, how inspiring that is, that even if it's useless, you should stand and you should fight. If people want to take your freedom, take what you hold dear, you don't just roll over and let them do it. You fight back with every ounce of strength you've got. I just don't understand how you can quit.
Yeah. We sort of have a similar story here. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Alamo. I know we're closing up, but
No, go ahead.
I don't know if you heard of the Alamo,
Mm-hmm.
where a bunch of American soldiers faced up to a bunch of Mexicans and took a fort and defended that fort for I believe it was the same amount of days, 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for that. So to comparing the analogy, it's either this or dealing with them with a bunch of SJWs fucking with us. So I completely see your point.
I don't know. It's just, I guess because I'm so into history, I can look back and I can see these inspiring stories. Very few of them end well, but that's not really the point, It's more of a matter of taking pride in resisting. It's a matter of grabbing a hold of whatever you can and making whatever mark you can.
Sure.
Yeah, going into 2016, I would have to say if you aren't resolved to, do what's necessary to pretty much push back against all of this bullshit, then, just go play your games and enjoy, because it's not gonna get done without some hard work on all of our ends. Like, that's just the facts. Like, we're gonna have to put some work in, and push back. Whether it's being subversive, whether it's red pilling people, or just keeping the discussion going. I mean, you're gonna have to keep going right back at them. I would like to see more subversive actions back and going right at their throats, but you know, that's kind of my personal way that I'd like to see things go, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, so does that wrap things up?
Yeah, anything you guys want to plug, Andy?
I'm good.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, if we stream again, you're welcome to join. It was fun.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
If you want, here, just look this up on Skype and you can add me.
Oh yeah, I'll put my.
Did you put it in the chat?
Yeah, the Google group chat.
Okay. All right, sounds good, guys.
All right, I'm gonna end the chat. Thanks everyone for watching. Oh, do you have anything to plug, Duke?
Nah, not right now.
Okay, cool. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
Peace out.